Boop, boop, boop. And we are back.
We're back.
Headphones working?
Yes.
Okay. Dope. We're here doing the thing, guys.
Welcome. Just so everybody knows, it's taken me an hour to eat half of a sandwich.
Yeah?
So I am going to continue snacking while we're live. This morning has been absolutely hectic for me. How are your guys' morning going? Babe, how's your morning?
It's going.
Yeah.
I have zero complaints.
Mr. Steve, how's your morning going?
Excellent. Couldn't
Fantastic.
You guys want to see Steve? Boom! Steve is in the chat, ladies and gentlemen.
This is Steve, guys. We've mentioned him a few times on the podcast.
We're going to do a video, an actual podcast, and do an interview with Steve so we have some history on who he is and what he's about.
A little get to know.
Yep. I need a second.
Okay, I'm going to take a bite.
Okay. Well, you want to find your emails too while you're at it?
I already have it up.
Okay.
I don't know if Starbucks uses like powdered eggs or whatever they do for their sandwiches, but their breakfast sandwiches are like my number one favorite.
Wow. I don't know about all that.
Good.
So we are 300 viewers currently. I'm ready to get into emails, I guess, whenever you are.
Alrighty. All right. Is there anything you want to talk about? You want to get caught up on?
I mean, I don't really have a whole lot to discuss. We have Steve. I don't want to I don't want to get too much into that because I do want to actually do an episode with him.
Okay.
And that would be a good way to give everybody a heads up of who we are and what we do and all that shit.
All right.
But I think that realistically, we could probably just get into it. Do you have anything that you want to get into that's that we haven't talked about yet?
No. I mean, I have like random thoughts and shit in my brain, but caught between faith and frustration. Good evening, Chris and Peaches. I come to you tonight in search for some advice. I met my husband 14 years ago as a 19-year-old girl who was crushing something fierce on her fellow 29-year-old tattoo artist. To save you some time, I'll cut out the beginning short and just say we did some back and forth and ended up together. In the beginning, he was unfaithful and ended up getting some one-night stand pregnant 6 months before I myself ended up pregnant. To say that I was hit with a brick when finding out 6 months into my pregnancy that there was another baby is an understatement. How do you even react to that? Okay. But I sucked it up, stood by him, and moved forward. The mother ended up being an addict, and after about 4 years of seeing how this poor child was being raised, I took control and forced my husband to pursue custody. I did everything, the research, the filing of the motions. We won custody, and I have raised this little girl as mine since.
Okay.
I
That's
fucking
dope.
love that she did that.
Yeah.
She could have been like, fuck you, you cheated on me. This is not my problem. She probably just saved that little girl.
Yeah.
I mean, when you think about it, moms who are addicts, their children 9 out of 10 times grow up to be addicted to something.
Right. You know that men are 2/3 the addicted population currently in the United States. So like out of 100% of addicts, 75% of them are men.
Wow.
Yep. And they also make up 75% of the suicide rates from people who overdose. I guess you can't really call that a suicide. It's
It's an overdose.
right. I still view it the same way, but
Right. Throughout these years, our relationship has been rocky, to say the least. He's an extremely angry man, and although none of us are ever touched, we do walk around on eggshells. We never know what will make him snap. Then to top it off, a regular argument between us that I constantly feel. A regular argument between us is that I constantly feel unloved.
Why?
He doesn't touch me just to touch me. He doesn't hold my hand or tell me I'm beautiful. The only time he attempts anything is when he's wanting something in the bedroom. And even that is seldom. There's been times in our relationship that he's told me that I'm ridiculous for asking for bedroom time and that I want it too much.
I was just corrected on my math. 66% is approximately 2/3.
Gotcha.
7th grade education, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for the correction. I appreciate it. And that's not sarcasm. I actually mean that.
Okay, I have a question for you, but I'm going to keep reading to get more information before I ask you it.
Okay.
I try so hard to communicate what I need and how I feel, but it has caused space between us for years. We are never on the same page. I have never tried to end this relationship. Oh, I have tried to end this relationship countless times, but he always seems to suck me back in, like using my stepdaughter, who I have raised, as leverage, or saying he'll do some bad shit so that none of our kids will have a father and my stepdaughter will go to her addict mother. Bio mom hasn't been around for 7 years. I would legally adopt that child.
Yeah.
I would start the process of legal adoption. That way, if you do end up leaving him, that's not leverage anymore. You both have custody of that child. I am absolutely disgusted by people who use children as pawns. He's not one to hold a job or help around the house. It's always put on me. Everything, finances, home, emotional well-being of the kids. I know what I should do, but religiously I struggle. 19-year-old me took a vow, and I'm supposed to stand by that. It's supposed to mean something to me and to God. How can I write that off when I know that it's supposed to mean something? So I understand that mindset. It's supposed to mean something to me and God. That means absolutely nothing if you marry somebody who does not believe in God.
Right. It's a very good point.
Like your faith and the things that you have tied to marriage mean absolutely nothing if you marry someone who gives zero shits about that.
That's a really good point. It's a really, really good point.
Yeah. There are a lot of people out there and a lot of women who have that mindset of this is marriage, like we're going to do the fucking thing. And then it's never clarified. They run and get married a year into the relationship. They're still in the honeymoon phase, the love obsession phase. And then things start to fall apart and they don't understand what's happening. It's because you never got to know the person. You never asked the questions of long term, what do you see? What does marriage mean to you? People just think it's the next step. Do you have something you want to add to that?
I mean, there's a lot to that. I think that ultimately it comes down to you can still honor your vow to the best of your ability, even though they're not willing to do the same. But how far are you willing to go to honor that? Mm-hmm. Because if it is a spiritual thing for you and you don't honor your vow, it's not your husband that you're letting down. It's yourself in the covenant that you made with God. Right. You know what I mean? Like that's a very hard thing to face. I apparently missed something. What happened in the chat?
I think there's somebody from our personal lives on both of the lives right now.
Oh.
And I'm just going to do a little to Crab. Thanks for being here, babes. The support means a lot.
Steve is getting the screenshots of the supers, guys.
Dope.
I'm on it.
All right,
back into it. How can I just write that off when I know it's supposed to mean something, but I'm at a point where I'm so lonely and just starting to believe that I was never meant to be loved and honored the way I love and honor. Starting to believe that I was never meant to be loved and honored the way I love and honor. You need to find somebody who's willing to match that energy. That's that settling mindset of it's okay to make bad choices in life. If you did not have a good example of what marriage is growing up, how can you expect to know what one is? I think divorce rates are so high right now because women are just marrying whomever asks them. And then 5 years down the line, they're absolutely miserable because that's not what they really wanted. They just like the attention.
Yeah, I think it's a lot more than that.
I would say that could be a contributing factor. Of course, there's a lot more to it. Were you going to add anything?
Well, I mean, we live in a disposable society.
We do.
You know, it's much easier to throw things away than it is to fix it. And it's something that we've been pre-programmed to do because they want us to consume. And they've made it so hard to fix things in your normal life that it's actually cheaper. Like if your TV breaks, it's cheaper to buy a new TV.
It is.
You know, there was a, and Steve will remember this, there was a little bit of time when we were doing crypto mining, and those 3080 and 3090 graphics cards were going for close to $3,000 on the secondhand market. In order to even buy them at cost, you had to buy a whole computer, and it was cheaper to buy a gaming PC than it was to buy the actual card off the internet because they were in such high demand and nobody had them. So when you make it, when you build an economy and you build a lifestyle around disposable everything, of course people are going to be like, this isn't working, goodbye. Like,
Right.
you know.
There's also a lack of patience in everything now. Like the other day, I said I get frustrated at commercials.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think combined with the disposable and the lack of patience, it's just a recipe for nothing to last. People want everything changed now. I don't like your behavior. You need to change it now or I'm leaving.
Yeah.
That's the end of it. P.S. I listen to you guys and just dream of what it would be to... I listen to you guys and just dream of what it would be like to have a love and family like that. You two are definitely goals. Thank you for saying that. I love that.
Can you make Steve a well? Just turn off your TikTok, please.
Okay.
Yeah, that guy is infiltrating, and I've clicked.
Do you want me to just block them? Because there's 800 people watching on TikTok.
Yeah, just if you can block that person or give somebody some mod status on your TikTok so that they can deal with it.
All right, so I hit him. He ain't coming back here.
Oh, dope. Thank you.
He can
Off
watch.
YouTube.
Off
Right.
YouTube. He can watch all he wants.
Oh, on
but he
YouTube.
ain't-
Okay.
It ain't gonna go nowhere. Sorry, guys. Learning curve. There's a button.
They have 1 follower and 0 followings. I bet they created the account just to do this.
Right, but
I feel so special.
It's getting to the point where it's the same like 3 people, and every time we block them, they just create a new account and continue doing it.
How flattering, though. Like, we live rent-free in their minds so much they're willing to go through all of this hassle just to do this.
Yeah, I don't know. It's pathetic to me.
It is pretty pathetic.
I have 0 free time on my hand, and to think about sitting around fucking playing
Doing
games
that?
on the internet like that, it's probably why these people are broke and have a hard time paying their bills.
Makes a lot of sense. Very bitter. Also exposing yourself a lot. Crazy. Anything you want to add to that email?
No, because I missed a lot of it because of what's going on in the chats.
So that boils down to sometimes we choose the wrong person.
Yeah, we do.
And sometimes people cut it off after 6 months. Sometimes people cut it off after 20 years. It is okay to say, things aren't what I thought they would be. Clearly, you do not care about me, and I'm not going to live my life this miserable. And if you're truly concerned about that child, like I said, I would go through the adoption process, get that going, and that's going to take a while. So you might have to suck it up a little bit and just go through it. Get the adoption process going. If that goes through, then leave. And say, I'm taking my daughter with me. Our daughter is leaving with me. Because you have made threats. She's not going to go back to her bio mom. Her mom, at that point, is not going to have any custody because you do. Things get so fucky when children are involved.
Yep.
Y'all really, really need to think before having kids. Like what situation you're in, what it could look like in 10 years. Are you happy with this person? Or are you just kind of placating them because this is what they want? You ready for the next one?
Yeah.
Let me paint you a picture. I've been thinking of writing in for a while, but now is the time. The history. My husband and I met in 2002 when he was 13 and I was 12. I was best friends with his sister and spent a lot of time at his house. Oh, excuse me. I had no idea he had love at first sight. Pumpkin spice latte's making me burpy. I had no idea he had love at first sight. He was really shy, and I never really thought anything of him. Fast forward a few years, I got my first boyfriend at 15. He ended up being my first everything, including making me a mother at 19. We had a very short marriage. I learned everything not to do in a relationship. Times were hard towards the end, and I needed a job to start taking care of me and my son. I took a job at the local newspaper in an overnight position and ran to my friend's brother, who also worked there. We worked together for about a year up until the point of talking. I found out he was also married. Come to find out, his marriage was also on the rocks. That is exactly how cheating starts.
Yep.
That is exactly how cheating starts. He took this opportunity to tell me he had a crush on me for 8+ years. I think the best opportunity was before either of you got married.
It's crazy to me when you think about somebody being 15 years old and like finding their person and running through their teens and creating a life as a teenager because you're so young and like you really have no idea what life is going to come at you. Like you're going to go through a lot. And you know, that, I don't know, that young shit is just, I don't know. It's a lot.
It is a lot. He never said anything because he was shy, and my soon-to-be ex-husband and he were friends. He thought he would try to move forward and marry since I was taken. Okay. I agreed to go on a date with him, and it's been 12 years since that first togetherness. We'd be married for 10 years in October. We have been through it. He's now 34 and I'm 33. We have our sons, 14 and 10. When we got together, he took my son's dad aside and had a conversation with him about being in my son's life. He told him that he would treat him as his own, and he has. He's doing the most amazing work making sure that they turn into gentlemen. They all treat me like a queen. I return the lessons by treating them all as men. We all took the love language quiz and are working to communicate to each other in our love language. I just wanted to let you two know that we both feel like we are back in premarital counseling. We are able to identify what's going on, communicate to correct it, and are growing stronger every day. We are doing the check-ins and having serious conversations. We are also enjoying each other more and are intentional. That intentional, the intent behind everything matters.
It does.
If it's just habitual morning and like a sorry excuse for a kiss on the cheek,
right,
and then you don't touch each other again until you lay down for bed, that sounds miserable. This current season is very hard for us. 5 years ago, my husband went from working in a doctor's office to working in an oil field, so I could attend nursing school without having to worry about working.
I'm willing to bet he makes more money on that oil field.
Talk about a massive sacrifice, too.
Yeah. Yeah, to go from working in a cushy AC desk job to breaking your back.
Because she wanted to go to nursing school.
Yeah.
That's a good man. It was the most difficult time in our marriage. The long distance, missing events, lack of communication was the worst. We came out of it, and I started my career in 2020, and he came home. We both took overnight jobs, opposite shifts, so that someone would always be with the boys at night. We saw each other 1 day a week for 3 years. Now it's his turn because he just started nursing school. I took a new job that allows better pay, and I could be home every evening and the weekends. We know the end goal of this, but I know it's going to get muddy. Nursing school is no joke. I found your TikToks early this year, then I joined the Patreon, then Discord. Your videos and podcasts are sustaining us through all this grind so we can make it out on the other side and still love each other. I'm going to change grind to hustle.
Yeah.
Because we're not trying to run ourselves into the ground here. We're trying to create a better future for our family.
Could even change hustle to build.
Yeah.
While we build. Because at least at that point, there's a positive connotation behind it.
Yeah.
I see hustle as a positive thing too, but a lot of people, it's starting to be used as a negative. You know, there's starting to become a hate towards the hustle culture. So For you guys who are in the chats leaving comments, we appreciate that. Make sure that you share the content. And if you leave super chats, we will 100% be reading super chats at the end of this.
We are forever grateful, and I'm so happy I stumbled upon y'all. Keep doing the good work. Y'all are really out here changing lives and building relationships. You're bringing back common sense, and I love it. Thank you again. P.S. People have always been envious of our relationship. We took a biblical approach. One of the first things we agreed on about this relationship is we are doing this the whole way because we're not doing this again. Oh, we're doing this the right way, the whole way, because we're not doing it again. This is our second marriage for both of us, and statistically, it's supposed to fall apart.
It is. They actually say that every time you get married, it's less than the first time or the previous time. Yep.
The first marriage, I believe, is at like 85%, the low rate. So it's 85% to work. From there, the second marriage is at 50%, and I think from there it drops down to like 30 or 20%.
I wonder how those numbers actually add up, though, because they say that we have a 50% over 50% divorce rate. Mm-hmm. We know that 70 to 80% of divorces are initiated by women.
Right.
So, like, if it is a 50% divorce rate, then your second one has to have a much higher percentage, 65, 75%, because the first marriage was at 50 or 60% divorce rates. I don't know. Pretty soon we'll have Steve with a fancy computer set up over there, and he can Google these stats and stick them on our screen while we're reading. It's going to be like a full-blown production. There's a lot in this too. And like, I gotta be honest, if people put the work in after their first marriage and really took the accountability and went, okay, this is what I did wrong. This is how I can improve. This is how I can be better. These are all the things that I did. Instead of going, well, my ex did this and fuck that motherfucker and all that nonsense. Like I did everything he accused me of. I did a whole lot more. I'm taking accountability. I'm not going to do this, and this next time. I'm going to make sure that I do this, and this for sure next time, because I need to grow. And if you don't fucking grow, what's the point of repeating things?
Right.
You know what I mean? And like every relationship you've ever been in until the one that you're currently in has failed. All of them. So you have life lessons to learn. And like you create different bonds as an adult than you do as a kid. You create the bonds that you have as a kid in like cliques and like social settings because you're around those people all the time. It doesn't mean that they're going to be lifelong friends. And then when you go to the workforce and you're working with people and you've got teams of people that you work around, you're cool with your coworkers because you work with them. Mm-hmm. But are they really your friends? Because when you leave that job, how many of you actually keep in contact with on a normal basis other than when they need something or you need something that they can benefit you from? You know what I mean? Like the bonds become different.
Yeah. Yeah. When I stopped working, every relationship changed. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep.
I'm going to say the female relationships that I had, every single one changed.
Yeah.
Yeah. It wasn't, they were super stoked and jumping at every opportunity to hang out. But once I stopped working, it was, I don't ask anymore.
How do you feel about this current setup in here? I really don't having to look over the monitor at you. I feel like I feel like I need to be sitting on a fucking high chair. So do we need to move the cameras so that the cameras are in the middle and we just move the monitors over so that we have to look over at the monitor and we can see each other? How do you want to do this moving forward? Because I got to be honest, that's my concern. Because like we can both see Steve,
right,
and we can see each other, but I feel like the gopher from Caddyshack. you know.
And I think putting the cameras
in front.
Right, but when I'm sitting here reading, it's going to be my side.
Right. Well, we have enough cameras. We can just set other cameras up. Yeah, I just don't know how that's going to work in terms of doing the stream deck. We'll have to figure that out. We can have up to 4 cameras running at a time on here.
It makes me feel really good that you don't like it when your view of me is obstructed.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, I like looking at you.
I know. I mean, in conversation, there's a lot of respect there that you could have your face buried in your phone and not give a fuck about the fact that we're having a conversation. Right. So I appreciate that.
Talia said he wants to look at his woman. Yeah, I do. it's crazy that she equated our podcast and the things that we're doing is into like putting them I just lost my entire train of thought.
I know. I saw what you saw. This whole fucking morning, man.
Yep.
All right. Relationship advice. Hi, Chris and Peaches. I found your YouTube channel a few weeks ago, and I really respect the relationship you two have together. It reminds me of my own, to be honest. My fiance and I have been together for a little over 2 years. We've been engaged for a year and plan to marry in 2024. We are literally perfect together. Same interests, same goals, and we talk about everything from the serious stuff to farts. We usually say to each other that we are twin flames. He leads our relationship so well that I fully trust him to be able to submit to him freely and wholeheartedly. My question today to you both is in regards to sharing problems. As for me, I share every problem I have with him. I come to him for every little thing because even if I try not to, he just knows. He can tell in a second if there is something up with me and tells me to share. He is always there for me, but he is the opposite. When he has a problem, he doesn't share it with me at all until after. It's because he's problem solving. And once the problem is solved, he brings it to you just to let you know that it happened. Obviously, I can tell there's something wrong with him in a second. He tries his best to be himself, but we spend every second together, so of course I can feel it. When I spoke to him about this, his response was that he can handle it, and he doesn't think he should be burdening me with anything. He says as a man, he shouldn't be coming to his woman complaining. I get what he is saying, and I appreciate this. But in the time that he's in a problem, and I can feel he's not himself, it kills me. Am I wrong to try and push him to share? Men cope with things differently than women do. When you are going through it, and I can tell you're going through it, I will ask you once, do you want to talk about it? And if you tell me no, I respect that, and I don't bring it up again until you're ready.
Right.
People who have not had the space ever in their life to be vulnerable with somebody, they've learned to live that way.
Well, you got to keep in mind too. There's a lot of fear in men being vulnerable to a woman, anyways, because we're used to having it thrown back in our face. And the perfect example of that is in that 300 video that we made, where we talked about the movie. Somebody that actually stitched my TikTok was like, I normally agree with a lot of the things this dude says, but I really disagree with this because this situation, men should never be vulnerable with your woman. When you start being vulnerable with your woman, it's when she sleeps with your best friend and like all of that. And I had to like, there's a difference between being a pussy and being a vulnerable guy. Like if you have something that you're trying to work through and you unload that on your woman and you try to work through the problems together, I view that as teamwork. If you just want to cry about how hard your fucking life is, then yeah, that's not being vulnerable. That's being a bitch. Like, there's a difference. So, that crab burst in his back in your TikTok is Skippy. Just end your live, please, so that we can focus on what we're doing instead of dealing with the stupid shit.
Oh, Skippy, you didn't ruin our morning. It's cute you think that, though. The amount of weight you put on yourself is a little too much. All right, that's off. That can go in the purse.
We just got some new advertisers.
Oh, dope.
40-something emails. Holy shit.
How pathetic. They went and created a whole nother account just to get back on that live.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right, we did that one. This one's called 32-Year Marriage Ending. I have found a love for your podcast and the principles that you guys discuss. I've also heard you say that you do not like short emails, so this one will have 32 years of detail. You said you didn't want to do this.
What?
It has 32 years of detail.
Yeah, I don't.
Okay.
How is that going to help us problem solve your current relationship? If you have a 32-year lifespan and you are still dealing with things from your childhood that you have not worked through yet, of course you're going to have problems in your relationship. Mm-hmm. Anytime there's a conversation, you're going to get defensive. Somebody's going to say something, you're going to get defensive. You're going to feel like you're being attacked all the time. Like we're not therapists. Like
right.
You got 32 years of trauma you need to deal with. You need to go see a therapist.
Mm-hmm. All right, this one is values, kids, intimacy, and future.
Okay.
I'm a 22-year-old man currently seeing a 22-year-old woman. We live separately, seeing each other every weekend, only on weekends, and all week long. What? Seeing each other every weekend, only on weekends. Oh, and all weekend long. Okay. We have been dating for about the last 2 years. We've had a mostly good relationship. I'm happy, and to my knowledge, so is she. That being said, I will do my best not to demonize her or sound one-sided. The problems I have aren't everyday or common occurrences, but rather the thought of us remaining together in our future.
Wait a minute. Was that, hang on a second. Angela Bartolone, was that email from you? How do you know that?
Know what?
She said in the chat, 32-year marriage, not 32 years old. So either I misunderstood something or Angela sent that email to us.
It wasn't from her, it was from a man.
Okay. Angela, I hope your new job apprenticeship tattoo thing is going really well for you. All right, sorry, back to the email. I wasn't sure if that was...
Recently, we have been talking about possibly getting married in a few years, and if and when that time comes, building a family. It's got me thinking about a relationship, and it scares me.
Say that again.
Recently, we have been talking about possibly getting married, and in a few years, if and when the time comes, building a family.
Okay.
This got me thinking about a relationship, and it scares me.
So they haven't lived together. They're only there on the weekends, only see each other on the weekends, and they're now talking marriage.
It's only 52 weekends in a year.
Yeah, it's not a whole lot of time
not.
together. You don't really know people like that. You know what I mean? Like people can fake it for a weekend real easy. Like you can tolerate a lot of things that you normally wouldn't tolerate over the course of a weekend. Yep. Oh, she said it said 32-year marriage ending. I apparently missed it.
Ready to keep going?
Yep.
I'm a very traditional and conservative man. I follow most values and virtues that come with that. She's very left-leaning and doesn't believe in the traditional marriage roles as I do.
Well, that's going to create a whole lot of problems in the household.
Right. If you want somebody conservative, date somebody conservative.
Right. Was that the whole email?
No, there's more to it.
I heard you say that's it. I'm like, wait a minute, what? Like
No,
that
I
was
mean,
short.
That's it. Every email we receive where there are differing political views,
It's a mess.
it's a fucking mess.
Every time.
Because I would even say as far down to the morals, those are interpreted differently.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that you kind of got to think about that though, because that's going to come down to the fact that when you have somebody that leans conservative, normally they have faith. Whereas when you look at what's going on the left, you can't talk about your faith. You can't talk about God. You can't, you know what I mean? Like, so there's going to be a fundamental issue in the way that the relationship and shit goes in the house. Because that would have been a false statement. Normally, when people follow a faith, they have a moral standard that they follow. And when people don't have that, it's free for all. They can live for the pleasure instead of having, a moral compass. That's kind of a lot. It's kind of a lot to think about.
It's a lot to process. Yeah.
And I do believe that pulls into the whole left versus right thing. Oh shit, we got a $50 super chat. Got to interrupt for that one, guys. Sabrina said, 250 letters is not enough for the amount of gratitude I have for the both of you. Saved a still pic of a clip of our interview where Mike was looking at me and smiling. Everything that I have consumed by the both of you truly saved us. Thank you. I saw that clip, and your old man is enamored. Like, he's in it.
Yeah.
She posted it to the mod chat in Discord.
Did she?
Yeah. Yeah, he was in it.
I love that.
I feel like I should pull that photo up and stick it on the screen.
Do it.
Yeah?
Yeah, I haven't seen it. I want to see it.
Stand by. That's funny. You're like, run it. Where'd it go?
Oh, Janae's back.
Janae.
Janae. Oh my gosh, stop. Look at that.
He's in it, boy. He's in it.
so happy.
Love that shit. Sorry, Sabrina. You did it. You started it.
That was a really good picture.
Yeah. Yeah, you started it. All right.
All right. Back into the email. She also follows a lot of the modern day woke ideology. I'm against most of it. I mean, no disrespect to anyone's beliefs, they just aren't mine. This difference worries me about the longevity of lifelong marriage and the possibility of children. I too would be concerned about that, because if that's how she feels, I bet no way in hell are you going to raise her children that way.
Yeah.
As far as the differences in marriage values goes, she believes that the man is not a leader in the family, nor should she have to respect that role. Instead, she believes that there is no leader in the family. She believes that if a marriage does not work, just get a divorce.
See, and that ties into the faith thing.
Right. Also, how many armies, for example, let's just go back to 300. Leonidas was the fucking man. He was the one who made calls. And if he had to delegate something, he would. But final line, everything came down to him.
Right.
If there were two Leonidases, they would have been done within the five minutes.
Right. You would never be able to make a decision.
Right.
Marriage is compromise. Mm-hmm. There's always going to be compromise. You have to have discussions and you have to figure out what's going to work best for the two of you. But having a final decision maker in a home goes a long fucking way. Mm-hmm. And we've gotten a lot of shit. You especially have gotten a lot of shit because you let me make all the final decisions. But there's a power in that you gave that to me. But there's a very weighted. Weighted is not the right word. There is a very heavy cloud every time I have to make a decision, because if something gets fucked up, I can't blame you for it. It's me. Like, I did that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I absolutely do believe that there should be somebody that leads in the house. And I don't think that if you think that the answer of a marriage just not working out, that divorce is the answer, don't get married. What's the point in that? Like,
really, what is the point?
Here's an even deeper thought.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't believe in a faith or a higher power at all, what is the point in getting married?
Right.
Because you're already committed. You're living that life. Mm-hmm. Do you want the tax breaks?
Is it a money thing for you?
Right. What is the real point in getting married if there's not a spiritual thing there? Like, is it just that final level of commitment because you're already committed? And if you can just leave and divorce whenever the fuck you want, you can do that with a breakup. Like, there's nothing there. It just creates an extra step for the breakup process.
How romantic.
Right?
Baby, let's get married so we can get a tax break.
Yeah. Want to save... We can call Geico instead. I heard it'll save 15% or more on our car insurance. Geico, you owe me some money for that advertisement.
It's making those $3.95 divorces.
Yeah.
you see on
Oh,
side of
yeah,
the
the little
screen
sign
much
on the side of the
better.
road.
Yeah.
All right. She also believes that if a marriage doesn't work, just get a divorce. That shakes me to my core. I believe a marriage is till death do us part. She is also rather unsure of kids. The idea of pregnancy scares her. I'm open to adoption, but I don't think she is, and I know I want them.
Here's a thought. If she's left-leaning and does not have faith in any way, shape, or form, and you guys get pregnant, and you are ecstatic and want that baby, and she doesn't, and she removes it,
I was just thinking about that.
how is that going to affect you? Because you have no say.
You have no say. I'm going to be honest, my mind went straight to that when she said that she believes if a marriage doesn't work, just get a divorce. My mind also went to that. It's not a form of birth control.
Yep.
The possibility that we have kids one day scares me, as she follows the modern day gender ideologies. I believe in the traditional gender ideology. I'm afraid of the influence that could have. I also worry about the longevity of our intimate life. I'm going to backtrack. There's a reason we're going to homeschool our children.
Yeah.
And it is because of the influence that other people can have on our children. I worry about the longevity of our intimate life. She goes through periods where she will not be sexually active with me. I do my best to be understanding, but that can be difficult and worrisome. We have times where we are sexually active multiple times a week for months, and then nothing at all for months. I don't stop the small acts of intimacy as I'm a romantic. I'm a sucker for holding hands and cute moments with her, and she always reciprocates. It's just sexually where she loses drive. One last concern I have with our relationship is our communication. I'm not talking about arguing. Everyday conversation. We really can't talk about anything, at least nothing past surface level. This is not the girl for you, my guy.
I agree. I agree with that on a lot of factors.
Yeah.
So the politics obviously matters to most people, especially when you have your set thing, right? Because you can't talk about it. Because normally people are going to get butthurt and they can't have an intelligent decision. Normally. I am very aware that I have friends that are very far left leaning and I have friends that are extreme right. I'm libertarian. And I can have conversations with both of them, and most of the time we can find a common ground, and then we have to figure out how to fix things to make it work. The problem is I can only do that with like 3 or 4 people.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they get super butthurt and go, we have a difference of an opinion. We just can't talk about this.
They take it as a personal attack.
How are we going to understand each other and learn and grow and be able to understand where your points are coming from if you can't talk to me about it? Like, so if you're building your relationship off of that, knowing that that's going to be a problem and you can't discuss these things, when the other major things come about, you're telling me what you're telling me is that you can't communicate effectively. I just see this as a problem. I agree. This isn't going to work. If you guys are that separated on so many things, basically what's happening is you're hanging out on the weekends, getting some play.
Friends with benefits.
Right. Because there's not real sustenance there. You may not be seeing anybody else, but like this isn't marriage. This isn't leading to marriage. This is a weekend warrior thing. Well, we don't have to worry about talking about politics because I'm only going to see you Friday and Saturday night. You're going home Sunday.
He's that weekend warrior dick.
Damn it.
Oh, man.
2 weekends a month, 1 weekend a year.
That's funny.
I like to talk on deeper levels, and I like stimulating conversation. She never has the will to do this with me. I like to have a conversation that could last hours, but she seems unwilling to try. And if it's not how's work or hey, look at this thing I found, it's not a conversation that we can have.
Because you guys don't have anything in common.
Right. Yep. I'd love to sit down and just talk with her, but that never happens despite me trying. She's perfectly capable, as she's very intelligent, just unwilling. All of this being said, I'm happy here overall. There's no substance to that happiness. I get from this that she's just filling voids for you, giving you attention. Sometimes. Like, what are you happy about? I know in 20 years, you and I are still going to have interesting conversations.
So, fun fact.
Okay.
I fucking hate power outlets. And I didn't, I put tape over the one that was behind you when we were in the room at the house.
Yeah.
Because I could see it.
Right.
And somebody was like, oh, that white power outlet behind Chris is fucking killing me. And I'm like, bitch, now I can't unsee it. So I found a way to hide the power outlets. Wait, let's see.
Yeah, you got to angle yourself.
There. As long as I don't move.
We can put this thing over it. The To Be Better crocheted thing we got.
Gaffer's tape. I'll bring it tomorrow. You guys are just gonna have to deal with the power outlet. Wait, can I sit like that? I can do that. I'll stay like that
Oh, nice.
as long as I don't move.
Okay.
My titty's twitching. Does that mean I have low magnesium?
I need to get that magnesium spray.
All right.
Do you hear me breathing? No, wait, listen.
Yes.
Why does it sound like a fucking squeaky toy? Yeah, if you guys can't have conversations, you're going to grow apart. There's going to be emotional cheating, arguing. Because at that point, you're going to be living together.
Yeah.
I'm good on all that.
Could you imagine how the barbecues on the weekends would go, or like the kids' birthday parties when mom's and dad's friends show up, and how those conversations would go? Hey, Becky, what do you think about what's currently going on in Venezuela? All hell's breaking loose.
I'm going to be honest. I don't think they would be able to have civil family
No, they wouldn't.
anything. It would be, all right, her family, mom's coming over, whatnot. All right, well, I guess I'll just hide in my room. I bet she would also be the kind of person to talk shit about him to her.
Probably. I have a really good idea.
Yes.
Stand by.
Oh, I was getting ready to stand up. Okay. Well, everybody, you know what that means. Holy shit. That's a good one. Heather said, cheers, everyone. I love that. Thank you. Smart.
Problem solved.
Smart.
Winning.
All right. Do I still keep you on your toes with conversation?
Yeah, most of the time. Sometimes you say shit and I'm like, I knew you were going to say that.
No.
Yep.
Like
and then
what?
sometimes you say shit and I'm like, where the fuck did that come from?
What do I say that's predictable?
You can't ask me something. Next time you do it, I'll be like, I knew you were going to say that.
I don't like that.
Yeah, well, it's not something I think of very often, but I do think,
Got to switch it up.
yeah.
All right. She cares. She takes care of me emotionally and supports me in my endeavors. She's very sweet and caring. Sounds like a really dope friend. I am that way for my friends.
Yeah.
Like my friend Jackie or Jasmine, they message me about something they want to do. I'm like, fuck yeah, I get it. Let me know how it goes when it's done. If you need anything while you're doing it, let me know.
Yeah.
I do everything in my power to make her life easier. We work wonderfully as a team. I'm scared to give that up, but I'm scared to stay. Every avenue that my mind is envisioning for the outcome of this relationship, I would cut ties now. I could not imagine raising children with these two differing opinions. They can't even talk. And then suddenly you're going to have deeper conversations with the children and she's going to feel left out, or she's going to feel like you're not giving her enough attention, or she's going to wonder why you guys can't have that connection.
Or she's going to feel like you're teaching the children things that she disagrees with.
True. That.
And that's going to create a whole lot of
I don't want my kids
dissension.
raised that way.
Right, yeah. Don't do that. I don't want my kids to know those things. Like, well, they're my kids too. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
it's just, that's a very, very slippery slope. That's not going to be, one
Yeah.
of those things.
Can we just take a second to touch on, I think it's absolute bullshit that women will look at the father of their children and go, those are my children, you have no say. That's not how I want my children raised. Absolutely blows my mind. If you didn't trust him to be a father, you shouldn't have had children with him.
Right.
I need a minute from talking.
Yeah.
Yeah. Soothe my vocal cords for a moment.
Do you guys see this cool thing that I got? Let's see. Will I be able to? Wait, this way.
There you go.
Yeah. This is really hard to do
I believe that.
because I'm looking at the camera, or I'm looking at the screen that's recording from the camera. So not only it's like double backwards.
Yeah.
Backwardception.
Sean got me that for my birthday yesterday.
How's everybody's Wednesday?
Yeah, how is your Wednesday?
No, you did not just die. We're going to find out. Okay, it's not dead. It's just a really weak pull. I watched that movie for the first time like 3 months ago.
Yep. We've gotten some pretty dope super chats. I'm trying not to read them because Steve is like screenshot and sending them to me.
Yeah.
But I've seen a couple of really good comments pop up.
You ready for the next one?
Sure.
Okay. Reassurance. I read that as Renaissance and I got really excited, but that's not what it is. Communication and love languages. Hey, Chris and Peaches, I'm reaching out because I've been listening to y'all for a while and trying to implement things you suggest into my life and relationship. We have had a lot of work and things that need to be fixed together, but I do need some guidance on how to better myself so that I'm not a burden to my fiance. For background, I am 26, he is 25, soon to be 26. We grew up similarly. Help.
Alike.
Similarly.
Alike.
Similarly.
We grew up alike.
Okay, I need you to say it for me, please.
Why? So that I can also fuck that up because now all I can hear is you doing it in my head? No, I'm good.
What word did that happen on the other day? That was funny.
I don't remember. That seems to be a reoccurring thing, though.
Similar. I hate it. I can hear it in my mind, but my tongue is just not cooperating. But also different. Both come from divorced parent backgrounds. My parents divorced when I was 6 and he was in early teen years. My mother cheated on my dad, and that's the reason for their divorce. His dad cheated on his mom, per his mom, and kind of confirmed by my fiance during the whole marriage.
What does that have to do with anything?
I guess just tumultuous raisings, like
Okay.
tumultuous representation of what a marriage is in the home. We started courting. Oh, I lied. I say that my fiance, I'm all over the place. His mom had an open affair with her now husband, and it's something she wishes she hadn't done with how it's affected her kids. Imagine that. Crazy that any parent's actions could have an effect on their children. Huh. I say that because my fiance is very disrespectful of women, very distrustful of women in general. I think it's safe to say a lot of men are.
Yeah, because we have reason to be.
Right.
But that also, that goes across the board, right? People are just shitty towards each other.
Yeah.
It's just the way it is. Like, and it's gotten worse. We've become a lot more comfortable with just looking out for ourselves because at the end of the day, we know that that's what we've got. You know what I mean? The idea of working together to like achieve goals and like thrive just isn't a thing anymore. I don't know.
No, it makes sense.
That whole thing is just I don't know. That goes back to that video that I was talking about earlier with the TikTok thing. Mm-hmm. You know, when we have people that are like, you could never be vulnerable with your woman. Don't trust women. They only want you for their money. Da 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 da. And like you hear that your whole fucking life, you're gonna be that way.
Right.
And for women who hear the same shit about men, it's gonna, well, obviously minus the money thing, because I don't know many women who say that about men. I guess they could, but I don't know. It's a lot.
Back into the email?
Yeah.
It has taken a very long time to build trust between us and for him to not see me as a whore or a slut for just being a woman.
Okay, I need an elaboration on that one. Need an elaboration on that one, because what do you define as being a woman?
I think just having female I don't know. I know a lot of men with that mindset who see a woman and just instantly think she's a whore because she's a woman.
Okay. I don't know any who just assume that all women are whores.
Yeah.
There's something that will trigger that thought in them.
Oh,
the-
like clothing or something?
Yeah, or the way that they talk.
Yeah.
Their social circle, their Facebook, their fucking photos with their tits out in the
Instagram accounts.
right. It's not. I honestly do not know a single man who just believes all women are whores. I just don't. Because if that's the case, they believe their daughters and mothers are.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. We started courting in January 2020. I put courting in quotations because we just went on walks or worked out together.
Okay, it's a good start.
It is.
It's a good start.
He would call me and talk to me on the phone. We would text and Snapchat. We'd also hang out at my house sometimes. No physical touching and no kissing, just simply getting to know each other.
Bethany Baker said, "I know a lot of men who automatically think that."
Yeah.
I don't. And if they do believe that and they really feel that way, I've never heard them consider. What about you?
For me, it's one of those things. You're only as good as the company you keep. If you are around 6 billion millionaires and you're the seventh in the room, you're the next millionaire.
Yeah.
At some point, inevitably, your mind is going to shift.
You need to pull that mic a little bit closer to you.
Oh, sorry. Inevitably, everything's going to shift. You know, ducks walk in a row.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I can see that bleeding over and changing someone's thoughts on the subject for sure.
Everybody's super about your t-shirt, by the way. I saw that earlier in the chat.
It's one of my favorites, and this is what I call my intimidation shirt when I have to go TCB regarding my wife and her friends. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, love it.
All right, let's get back to it.
It's not tacos. I know it's not tacos. The T in that is not tacos, but that's where my mind's going.
Taco crunchy burrito. I have to blow my nose real quick. Do I have a second?
Yeah,
Okay.
I can make you a second.
Okay. It's clogged on one side. I don't like it.
That's absolutely awful. I lay on one side of my face hoping it like drains to the other side so I can breathe out of one of them. Yeah.
I think you all should need to do a run of these shirts for To Be Better. Well, you guys did, didn't you?
Huh.
Okay. And we back. We back.
That might have been one too many.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, you know what sounds really good right now? Mashed potato bowl from KFC. On my birthday in April of 2020, my dad wasn't able to see me, and it made me really upset because we always make plans to see each other on my birthday since I'm his only child. I do have a half sister that is not biologically his. Due to this upsetting me so much, my fiance surprised me by showing up at my house, cooking for me, and buying me presents for me to come home to. Holy guacamole. Due to this upsetting me so much, my fiance surprised me by showing up at my house, cooking for me, and buying me presents for me to come home to for something nice for my birthday. He also brought me ice cream later in the evening. I love it when people are so willing to go out of their way for somebody else. He knew that she was going through it and she was sad and she wasn't going to be able to see her dad. There are so many people who are just I worked all day today and I'm tired. I'm going to go home. Sorry, you're having a bad day. Mm-hmm. I can DoorDash you something.
Real quick before you get back into that, Heather said they did a piece and home shirt combo, but I think something like this would fly off the shelves and keep the post office busy on Monday. I don't know what she's talking about. So Heather, please elaborate on that. But for everybody else, we still have accountability shirts. We still have peace and home shirts. We have some tattoo shirts left.
Burn the fucking ship.
We still have burn the ship shirts. We are sold out of hoodies, I believe. And the blankets are still on pre-order. The blanket hoodies are still on pre-order until
the 30th.
The 30th. So 3 more days on the blankets. Mm-hmm. But I'm now curious as to what the shirt would fly off the shelf.
I think the Protect Her.
Oh yeah. Oh, they wanted a Protect Her, Protect Him shirt.
Okay.
Because I saw that earlier. Steve's shirt. Yeah. So I made those shirts and did a very limited run from them. And Jeff Graham said that he had a very hard time giving those away at the tattoo shop, that a lot of people didn't want them.
Are you kidding me? Every time I did a tattoo over the amount and everything, they flocked to that shirt.
Yeah.
My clients did anyways.
Yeah, we will be we may reprint those. I'm going to be making a shirt. The next shirt run that I do for myself is going to say, I hope you take it personal. And it's going to have a list of my accomplishments on the back of it. My mental health is dope. My relationship is dope. You know, my businesses are thriving. I hope you take it personal. Just because of the amount of people who are like, oh, it must be nice. And all the people who fucking hate and like, I'm going to push that button.
Yeah.
I'm going to start pushing back.
Yeah. I want to do My Husband's Got Me.
Yeah.
And I want to do You Can Choke on Me.
It's funny. Aubrey Hanks said, Steve is so quiet. That's because he keeps pushing the microphone away from his face.
He's turning his head.
I'm actually monitoring the chat because I got one squeaked and I saw removed by to be better. So
Yeah.
I'm like,
That's all right. We'll get his microphone situated when he has his headphones on. He won't be able to do that because he'll hear himself go like this and have to correct himself. We're working on it. We weren't planning on actually having him on the show today because I wanted to introduce him in a podcast first, but we're doing the thing. So
Back into the email.
yes, ma'am. That's right. I know you like it.
I do. My neighbor's dog got out and almost attacked my fiance and me. Oh, fiance and I.
Why did their dog almost attack their dog?
Neighbor's dog.
Oh, neighbor's dog.
Long story short, my neighbor threatened me after I told him his dog was dangerous and I would shoot it if it came at us like that again.
The neighbor?
She said that to the neighbor.
No, I meant shoot the neighbor.
No, shoot the dog.
Oh,
Because the dog attacked them
or rushed at him.
or rushed at them. Yeah, rushing and attacking is two very different things.
Where's Dakota when you need him? Better built dog. Shout out to my buddy's business. She should give him a business card. I know somebody that can train your dog since you obviously can't.
There's this dog. I'm just thinking about this now. So at the kids' school, there's this dude in the morning who walks his pit bull, and his pit bull's not on a leash. This is the beefiest pit bull I've ever seen in my life, and this dog is so well trained. That man stops walking, and that dog freezes.
Yeah.
Insane. I'm super stoked about Ivy.
Yeah, your dog will do that.
I got a little worried he would break into my house after that. And my fiance offered to stay with me. Why would he break into the house? That's a very large jump.
Yeah. Well, she did threaten to kill his dog. John Wick. Not saying that this is the right answer to all of that.
Right, it's a train of thought.
Right.
though. Yeah.
But that's where my brain went to it.
Gotcha.
DJ Cook said, is your trainer only local? My trainer is actually in Tennessee. And he has our dog for the next 9 months to a year. And that dog will have everything but bomb detection.
Into the email. Unfortunately, looking back, I started to make bad decisions here. I slept with him the next morning, and we started a physical/dating relationship after that. I viewed us as a couple, and he did not see us that way. Not exactly sure what he thought we were. I'm going to say friends with benefits. Okay. I don't understand why someone would go out of the way he has, cooking her dinner, surprising her with flowers on her birthday because she can't see her dad, all of that shit, becoming intimate with her, and not viewing that as a step forward in something.
I would go as far as to say that most men aren't going to do all that unless there's already an intent there.
Right.
So either he was just trying to smash and it happened, or he already viewed them as like a love interest and was going above and beyond trying to woo her.
Okay. It says fast forward, but my mind said flash forward to July of 2020. And he broke things off with me because he said he wasn't ready for a relationship. We went our separate ways until September when he came back and we became an official couple. For about a month, it was great and loving. We got into a fight after that month because we got back together. He wanted to know everything that happened when we were apart.
It was none of his business.
It is none of his business, especially if you guys were never in a relationship to begin with. This is starting a whole new thing to me. I told him I slept with someone because that was the only information I figured he wanted. The fight happened because he found out that I had flirted and texted with a friend I didn't know was a friend of his and an old fling of mine. I had cut both off at this point of us dating. Okay, so she did the thing.
Okay, wait a minute.
Okay.
Wait a minute.
All right, you're processing.
I am, because she said that the friend that she was flirting with is somebody that he's friends with but used to be a fling of hers.
Correct.
So he knows that they were priorly
Together.
doing the horizontal tango,
Okay.
and now they are a thing, and like, so now there's going to be that weird social circle where dude comes around and he's not going to know how to act because,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay.
Is that a thing for dudes? Like, you can't just play it cool?
It depends on the
Like emotional attachment?
the security of the man.
Okay.
And like the ability to trust the woman. Like if you were constantly posting selfies on the internet and doing all that shit, and then somebody that you were once with came around and you were like doing the, you know, dressing differently and like laughing extra, you know, at their jokes, and like you can tell if
Right.
that attention is still there. I don't know.
Oh, so there is a male version of a pick-me man.
Wait, why? I
So-
don't understand.
I am hyper vigilant when it comes to women, specifically women who seek out married men and the things that they do to try to get attention. So, okay, wait.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think that's a pick me. A pick me is somebody that says all the right shit just to get a man to choose them.
No, I would group that into pick-me behavior.
Would you?
Yeah, dressing a certain way
To get attention?
to get attention, yeah. Doing their hair the way that they like it.
Okay.
Painting their nails a certain color because he likes it. Changing their makeup.
I don't understand why that chick just didn't be like, we weren't together. What I did is none of your business.
Yeah, I've been like, why does it matter?
Yeah, if you were that worried about it, you wouldn't have left, and we wouldn't
Yeah.
have broken up. You should have committed. If you loved it, you should put a ring on it. I don't know. Is that how the song goes?
I believe so, yes.
I'm real big on that. I'm real big on that. I've always been big on that shit. What happens when you're not with somebody is none of their fucking business.
Yeah. Unless it's a baby.
Wait, what?
Unless it's a baby. You get somebody knocked up in that time you're broken up. I would like to be disclosed that.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's a long breakup.
No, I mean, that other chick said that. Oh, no, they were together. She cheated.
Yeah. Oh, well, I see what you're saying. Like,
Yeah, like
so
a
like
one-night
a year
stand.
later, they talking about, yo, look what you got. That kind of thing. Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, I could see that being a point. But again, like, that was a one-night stand and not a relationship. And we've been made very clear that men have no say-so in that. So even in the event that we didn't want that fucking kid and they did, we have no say.
Right.
So in that scenario, how does that look?
Stressful.
Like, it's going to be a long fucking day.
Um,
That's funny.
I don't know why I'm standing in a New York apartment and the door's open. I just hear a child. And I'm like, babe, what's going on? And you're like, there's something I need to tell you.
Yeah.
What the fuck do I do? That's a lot.
What was that movie where the guy was on a really long conference desk? Ready Player One, where he's like, when you lose your shit in the game, you lose your shit in real life, and he like takes his headset off and slams it on the table and runs to jump out the window, and dude like tackles him. Yeah, that would be that
Yeah.
conversation.
So she said I had cut them both off at this point of us dating. So they weren't together. They got together and she ended all of it. Absolutely nothing wrong with what she has done.
Right, I agree.
He flipped out and said many nasty things to me and said he could never trust me because I lied to him.
About what?
That just sounds like insecurity.
Right, but where did the lie come from? She told him she slept with the dude. So where's the lie?
It's the fact that she didn't disclose that she was flirting with another man through text messages.
None of his business.
It is none of his business. It didn't lead to anything.
Even if it did. I don't care if she fucked 50 people in the course of a weekend.
Yeah.
They were not together. It's none of his fucking business.
Right.
I don't see that as a lie.
Neither do I.
Okay. She's just, it's none of your business. Tell him to go like this. And be like, why? And be like, because you're being nosy as fuck right now. We got a new patron.
Oh, dope.
Shout out to that $20 patron that just subscribed. We appreciate that.
I didn't have any feelings for anyone I didn't have feelings for anyone but him. I didn't want anyone but him ever since. That's a lot of buts in that sentence, and that makes me uncomfortable. That doesn't sound grammatically correct to me, and it's hitting my ear wrong. I didn't have feelings for anyone besides him, and didn't want anyone but him. Ever since I've met him, he didn't believe me. He saw me as a whore and a woman who would cheat. It took until about a year ago for me to gain his trust again. I would never stay with a man who called me a whore.
Yeah.
I'm good. Like, that's how you view me? No. That's crazy. I changed so much of myself in that 2-year period to shrink myself and isolate down to one friend and never left the house other for work to show him that I wasn't a cheater like my mother and that I loved him. You're locking yourself in a cage. Love is absolutely insane to me, and it's absolutely insane to me what people will do when they're in love. Looking back, we could have just walked away or given him space for us to talk it out, but I didn't have to isolate myself. We have worked to work through how badly we treated each other in that time and have worked to fix the wounds we had created. We found out I was unintentionally pregnant in March of 2021, and by April of 2021, I had lost the baby at 10 weeks. It destroyed me and him both. I went into a severe depression and spent many days in bed unable to cope with how my body failed me. I had a flexible schedule. Okay, before I keep going, this is not talked about often. Almost every woman for her first pregnancy, I'm not going to say almost every woman, but a vast majority of women for their first pregnancy will lose it.
Is that actual?
Yes. I don't know if it has to do with what's in food or what it is.
Can you get me a statistic on that, please? I'd like to know the actual number.
Stand by.
It's a large amount.
Yeah.
It's a very large amount. I lost my first pregnancy to a miscarriage.
Yeah.
And out of the women that I know who are mothers have also had that happen. Some have lost more than one. And it's just, I don't know. I know all throughout history, childbirth could always be a like this way or that, who's going to survive it.
Right.
But I don't think miscarriages and such were such a prevalent thing that long ago.
I heard 3 deep breaths at once. Mine, yours, and his.
It's actually pretty staggering.
Okay.
This number. Miscarriage is where pregnancy lost before 20 weeks.
Okay.
For women who don't know they're pregnant, about 10 to 20 in 100 pregnancies, so 10 to 20% end in miscarriage. Most miscarriages, 8 out of 10, 80% happen in the first trimester before the 12th week of pregnancy. So overall, it looks 10 to 20%.
That is a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It's, yeah, when you weigh out 100 pregnancies,
Right.
Absolutely, that's too many.
So let's also talk about this then, because this is one of those things that a lot of people don't acknowledge either. Miscarriages for women are not the same as miscarriages for men.
No.
So like there's men and men will argue with this all the time. Men will be like, I absolutely love my kids, blah, blah, blah. And they want to come at me crazy when I say this, but I'm going to say it anyways because I believe it. Men will never have the same attachment to a child that a woman does.
I agree.
We don't. We can always have more kids. Like our bodies don't get to that point where like, okay, we're 40 now. We got to stop. Robert De Niro's got to he's 80 and knocked the chick up. Like
a child, yeah.
we don't have that same, you know what I mean? And like for us, it's just a very different thing. So for a woman to have a miscarriage and to go through that kind of depression where we're like, what are you so sad over? Like, get out of bed. It's not that big of a deal. Like, you know, obviously it is. It's a really big fucking deal. But after a few days of that shit, we don't understand what you're going through.
Yeah.
And we can get it. You can be like, you know, I'm depressed. Yeah, we get you're sad. It's not the same thing because we can't experience that. That loss isn't the same to us. And you can never verbalize that. You know what I mean? Like, so I think that that's an important thing too. And we know that like there's got to be a hormonal disruption in a body when that happens too. And there's going to be time that's going to have to recover as well. I don't claim to know everything by any means, but I have researched things like that because I do want to try to understand a little bit. You know what I mean? It's crazy to me how little, like, you think that would be a health class conversation.
You think it would be?
It's not.
No. After my miscarriage, I had multiple doctor appointments afterwards because of my hormone levels, and they had to make sure everything balanced back out. Sometimes when that happens, the body doesn't recognize the pregnancy has ended, so it continues producing the hormones.
Is that true? That
Yeah.
also happens?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why I had those appointments. And it fucked with me mentally very hard. My hormones were all out of whack. And I had that same, I had to learn how to cope with. I didn't understand why my body would do that. Like, I'm built for this.
Right.
So
Wow.
it definitely is a lot to process. I had a flexible schedule job. Before I keep going, you are correct. My kid's father was when that happened, and he didn't understand 3 or 4 weeks after it happened how I was still really going through it.
Right.
So it definitely is a lot.
And again, there's that on top of that, like, you expect your life to fall back into some sort of routine after that happens. Obviously not right away, but 3 to 4 weeks is a long time for somebody to, like, for us to look at you guys going through that, because we don't get it. So, like, we're like, okay, let's go. Like, you're going to get back to normal now. Like, why are you still crying? Like, come on, let's get our life back together.
And then there's that frustration there.
Right. And then it creates arguments. That is a very normal thing. And it just comes down to a lack of, we can't experience that. So you can have empathy all you want.
You can't have sympathy, though.
It's just not the same thing.
Yeah. And for those of you who don't know, empathy is when you can recognize and understand. You can say, like, I hear you. I hear what you're telling me. And you can empathize with the feeling. To sympathize is to actually comprehend that feeling and say, yes, I have been through that.
Yeah, I have to actually look that back up, because I always understood empathy as the trying to, like, understand what somebody's going through, and sympathy is feeling sorry for. No?
So when we were doing the book breakdowns, that's one of the things that I had to break down because it was very prevalent in
I think we've had this talk twice.
Yes. It was in the one written by the FBI guy. The negotiation one.
Yeah, Never Split the Difference.
Never Split the Difference.
That was a really good book. Mm-hmm. It was a really good book.
I had a flexible schedule job, and that didn't help my mental health either. I was making no money, in debt, and living with him because I no longer could financially support myself. I am still ashamed that I allowed myself to get into these positions of being that worthless and hopeless. Is anybody worthless? Like, really, when you think about it, can we really deem anybody as worthless?
I mean, hypothetically, yes.
All right.
But I think that comes down to our own shortcomings and frustrations.
So
I have so yes, the reason I say that, because the dickhead in me wants to be like, absolutely, I know lots of wasted DNA. Like, there's a lot of people out there that are fucking worthless. Mm-hmm. But I also am a follower of Christ, and to think that God created somebody, regardless or how long they were here, there was a reason for it. And if there's a reason for something to exist, it's not worthless. It had a purpose. Mm-hmm. I also think that you have a 1 in 400 trillion of a chance of actually having life. So the fact that we are here, there's 3 of us in this room, we are that 1 in 400 trillion. That I just can't.
Well, that's actually 3 in 12.
Yeah.
Whatever next thing
right.
is.
Yeah, 3 and 12. No, quadrillion. 3 and 1.2 quadrillion. It's a lot.
Thank you guys for being a part of my life.
You're welcome.
Like, I really do deeply appreciate the both of you.
We're all super special, just so you know, and so is everybody else. We actually I had a TikTok where somebody was like, they commented on one of the videos where we were talking about coming on the show, and the chick was like, I would love to be on the show, but I'm a nobody. And my only response to her is, everybody is somebody to someone. Like, everyone. Nobody is just no one. So I don't know. So as much as I want to be like, yeah, there are wasted DNA out there. Like, there are people out there who shouldn't exist. That's not for me to say. I can't believe that. Sometimes I look at God and I'm like, really, bro? Like, really? Yeah. Now, people actually following through with their purpose and actually utilizing their life in a way that's meaningful, that's a very different conversation. Yep.
I concur.
How much longer is this email?
3 more pages.
Okay.
Why?
Because I'm going to run that smart credit ad when we're done.
Okay.
I want to share that with people again.
In February 2022, I started a new job and tried to get my life back on track. We got better when we worked through some issues. By July of 2022, we were on track to pay off all of our debt and create a life we envisioned for ourselves.
Okay.
July of 2022, I got T-boned on my way to work. I ended up in the hospital with 4 fractures in my pelvis and a fracture in my L5 spinal process. I was out of work for 5 weeks and had to learn to walk again.
As somebody who has back pain and like I have a disc degenerative disease in my spine, having things go wrong in your pelvic region and like your tailbone and hip area, bro, that is a whole different level of pain.
Yeah.
Fuck that. You can't sit, you can't lay. You're hurting. Can't stand. No matter what you're doing, you're in pain.
Yep.
Rough.
He was by my side and helped me through it. We had some fights, but he was there for me and cheered me on to get back on my feet. Literally. Now fast forward, we got engaged in December of 2022 and we'll get married in October of 2023. We are struggling with our communication and intimacy. I have been listening to your podcast and working on being a better woman for him. I want him to see me as valuable to him as Chris sees peaches for him. Each relationship is different, and I know that ours won't look exactly like yours, but I just want to know that he loves me. That is why I'm emailing you. I'm trying to be more honest and communicate how I'm feeling. I'm trying to pay off medical bills and credit cards from where I was out of work. Okay, from when I was out of work. I'm trying to get everything better before we get married. I called him on my lunch. My office is 30 minutes from home because I was breaking down over the finances and how our finances will look after we get married. And I'm really leaning on being a staying-at-home mom.
Okay.
Peaches, you help me to see that I can rely on a man to provide if he is a good man, that it doesn't make me less for not wanting to work, but instead take care of my home and future children. He has a bad habit of saying I'm freaking out if I'm emotional or crying and trying to calm down and just need support.
And pause. Because we're going to get too far ahead. I'm going to forget what I was going to say.
All right.
First and foremost, finances getting fucked up will really put a strain on a relationship.
Yes.
You will be surprised at how things fall apart and how fast things fall apart when the money gets fucked up. Doesn't matter how good you communicate, the level of stress, especially from a man's perspective, when the money gets fucked up is a major, major problem. My world falls apart when things are off with money. It doesn't matter, even if things are paid on time. If I think that there's a potential of them not being paid on time, my world is crumbling. I stress out hard over that. And I can see how that would be a very trying situation for two people who are trying to get married and like trying to get ahead. Like that's a problem. So like address that. Mm-hmm. She said that they don't communicate, but she didn't give us a reason as to why they don't communicate or how. Like an example, is it that you say things to him and he doesn't understand?
Are you a blubbering mess when this is happening?
Right. But then she said, after all of that, she brought to the point when she says that he says that she's always freaking out when she tries to talk to him. There is a cognitive bias that happens when you come to somebody with a problem based off your wording. So like if I heard something as a negative my whole life and you come to me to say something and you're just trying to express yourself and you use that phrase, I'm going to view it as a negative because this is the way I've been trained to view that phrase. So that's normal. But at him saying you're freaking out, is it that he doesn't know how else to articulate it? Like, are you emotional right now and he doesn't know to just say, hey, you're overly emotional, or hey, I can tell that you're dealing with panic. Hey, I can tell you're dealing with an anxiety. Like blanket phrases are a problem for this exact reason. So if I say, hey, you're really freaking out right now, and you're like, I'm not freaking out at all, I'm trying to express myself. And I'm like, well, I don't know how to say this. You know what I mean? Like that can happen. Mm-hmm. So that could be part of the problem with the communication that she mentioned earlier, is that he says something meaning what he means and she takes it how she takes it versus them being able to have an understanding of the way each other are talking. What are you smirking at?
Nothing. I just have an idea, and I think it's a really good point, and I want to ask you about it, and I want to see what you say.
Go.
Okay. So he says that she's freaking out. Could it be that he's in a moment of peace, or he's lost in his thoughts, and then suddenly this tornado of emotion is coming at him, and now his compass is off kilter, it's fucking swinging, he doesn't know what's going on. So you just brought chaos to his door, so it does feel like there's a freak out happening, because before you came in, it was quiet.
It could be. That could very well be the case. You you get stressed out easier than I do.
I do.
So when you do that, I always have to take a step back and be like, all right, babe, like I'll either tell you if you're overreacting or whatever. But normally I'll be like, you're trying to pay a debt you don't know. Like that's a big thing for me. Like don't write that check. You don't have to write the check right now. We can worry about that later. So when you are in that mindset and you are having that panic and you don't know what to do and you are simply processing, I see that as chaos and panic because you don't know what to do in the moment. And as your husband, I want to be like, haha, I got this. Dun, dun, dun. Like you can't do that. So in that scenario, I view that as you freaking out. But
I would hate for you to really see me freak out.
Right. But it's not to that level. You know what I mean? Like you're not burning the house down. You're not like throwing things. It's not really a freak out. You're just panicking in the moment. So like, I always tell you, like you're worrying about something that's not really there. Like you're panicking over something that doesn't really exist. It's not, but that is a freak out. Like I don't do that. So even those small disruptions when you have those moments can become problematic. So if I said, stop freaking out, and you're like, I'm not freaking out. Like I could see how that would be a communication breakdown.
Yeah.
But it's also a perspective. You know what I mean? Like the perception of the way that the words are coming across. Maybe he just doesn't have a better terminology to explain the way he's viewing that. Yeah. Shush. Shush.
I like how it sounds. Any final thoughts before I keep going?
Nope.
All right. Today was no different. I called him and told him I was freaking out.
Oh, so she's saying she's freaking out.
Right. I was just about to say. I thought that wasn't okay. Okay. Now
So I found the problem in the communication.
Right.
It's you. You're the problem. Somebody should make a Oh, wait. We have that t-shirt. It's for sale on the website right now. We have pink and yellow.
Oh, no. What did I do?
What did you do?
Oh, fuck. I don't know. Where am I? Oh, how do I get back? Is this it? Okay, it is. Fantastic. I clicked the escape button. If you're referring to yourself as freaking out, he has nothing else to call it. He's going to use your lingo. Okay. I just called him and told him I was freaking out and stressed, and I needed his reassurance. He did reassure me on a financial issue and how we would handle it. The problem is I kept saying how I was still freaking out and I needed him to reassure me with more than just the word it's going to be okay. And he started getting frustrated. Well, what else do you want him to say? Like, really, in those moments, really, can anything be said to bring your anxiety levels down? As somebody with severe... That wasn't one of our cars, was it? Okay. As somebody diagnosed with severe anxiety, there is absolutely nothing, really even myself, that I can say to get myself to calm down. I just deep breathe, focus on something else, and then once I'm fighting for survival mode, I'm able to think more logically, be okay. That was 100% a me problem. I could have brought it to you and gotten a babe, it's going to be okay, which 9 times out of 10 is really all you can say, and then hold me. So you need to ask yourselves, in those moments where it's not enough, before you even say that's not enough, what do you need? Because if you can't even answer what you need, how is he supposed to know? Just silence.
I'm trying to think about what I would say in that situation or like what I would do. Because I got to be honest, when you come at me with a problem, my answer is always, babe, we got this. It's not a big deal. Like, do I need to fix it right now? Or do we have a week? Because if we have a week, we have plenty of time to think about it. Like, even if somebody's freaking out over finances, because that's what their freak out was over, right? So if their freak out is over finances and she knows that she's been trying to pay this debt and they're not getting married today, Just keep chipping away at the debt. Like, I don't understand why that's something to freak out over. Why create drama in your life where there is no drama in your life? This is why people need to experience real hardships. Just at least twice in somebody's life, they should be dropped off in the woods with just a knife.
Yeah.
And like have a PA system maybe a half a mile off blaring wolf sounds to give us a real fear of like being eaten alive and like what we used to experience as people, because we don't experience that anymore.
Right.
So now we have passive aggressive behavior and microaggressions because somebody doesn't like your speech. When somebody's trying to kill you or an animal is trying to eat you,
Doesn't matter.
that
what you're
shit
saying.
doesn't fucking matter anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And that comes down to life experiences. It's why veterans speak the way they do. It's why people who've been to prison and who have had gang lives speak the way they do. We have a very different reality of danger.
Mm-hmm.
You know, being shot at and hearing that fly by your fucking head is a very different experience than that was a microaggression. And I don't like that. You need to change the way that you're speaking. Change your words. Like, it's just a very different thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
I realized I should have taken what he had gave me with the reassurance that he had already given me, but I just felt so overwhelmed and I just needed him to talk to me and tell me that he loves me. Okay, so that's different from needing reassurance about the finances.
Yeah.
Okay. He has said I push him too much, and when he gives an inch, I take a mile. I try not to do that anymore. Usually this is a problem with physical intimacy because my love language is physical touch and his is not.
Wait a minute. I don't understand the give an inch, take a mile thing.
Yeah, I don't understand that either.
Can you read it again? Maybe I just missed it.
He says that I push him too much, and when he gives an inch, I take a mile. I try not to do that anymore. Usually this is a problem with physical intimacy because my love language is physical touch and his is not.
Did my wife write you guys?
Dude, I don't understand what that means though. So how does that? So she needs to be hugged and told she's loved, and that is too much for him. Is that what he means by that? Like,
I don't know. I don't know if it's like they're cuddling on the couch and
she's now sticking her arms through his sleeves.
Yeah, like
because that's an extreme. I could see that as being too much. Like, okay, one size does not fit all. Get the fuck out of my t-shirt.
Unless we get bigger shirts.
I mean, and that's true. But that's what I'm saying. Like in that scenario, when you get upset, you're like, I need compression. I'm like, okay, I'll squeeze you. We hug for a few minutes. You're like, okay, I'm good. I'm like, cool. I'm gonna go change my shirt because it's not on my sleeve. Like,
yeah,
that it'd be like that.
It do be like that.
But there's not. If it's one of those things that comfort level's not finished and you're still going through it and still need more, you're just like, wait a minute, I'm not done. Okay, we're gonna stay here for another 30 seconds. It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
I don't understand how that would be give an inch, take a mile kind of thing.
Unless she's going from like cute cuddling straight to snowplow.
Yeah, I don't know. I would need an example of that because that's a very specific thing, and my brain's just not. I'm not figuring that out.
Yeah, I wish she included more as to like an example. I think if he never touched me again, he would be content to just have me under the same roof as him. I feel rejected oftentimes. Lately, he seems like he's trying more for me. I thank him for trying to be more physical with me. He also isn't really into sex or touching me unless I'm scratching his back when he's going to sleep. I don't really care so much about sex, but I want him to love on me and hold me and kiss me like he did when we first met.
There's a lack of intimacy there.
Also, a lot has changed.
Right. But that's what I
Since
hear
you
in
guys
that.
first met, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they're in a roommate phase. This is the definition of the roommate phase.
He says that he has low testosterone, but when he was on treatments for a few months, it didn't help. He got VA insurance, so they refused to pay for it, and that's his only insurance, and we can't afford to pay it out of pocket.
Okay, so let's talk about hormones, everybody, because
All right.
Matrix Hormones is a sponsor of the podcast, or somebody that we partner with. You can be on hormone replacement therapy and not have your levels right. So it doesn't matter if you're on testosterone or not. If your levels are unbalanced or your estrogen is too high or too low for that matter, you're going to have libido issues. That want is not going to be there. Blood work has to be a continuous thing. It takes a while to dial in those numbers. For some men can just get on testosterone at like 200 milligrams a week and that'll be enough to fix everything. There are other men who are going to need a whole lot more, and they're going to need an estrogen blocker, and they're going to need HCG or whatever that they call that now to try to keep the natural production going. And there's a whole lot of games that have to be played, because if you have one company tell you to take 1 milligram of an estrogen blocker and you take that every single day and it kills your estrogen, that's a problem. You have another company tell you to take 1 milligram every other day, and that could still be too much. So, like, it is a balance game. Getting your hormones tweaked to perfection takes multiple blood things. So for her to say that he was on testosterone and nothing changed, like, that can happen.
Right. They could have gotten him up to 400.
Right.
And said that was good enough.
Right. They could have. They could have. Well, if the range goes from 300 to 1200, I want to be at like 1300 because I'm an overachiever. God damn it, I want to feel good about myself.
Yeah.
So like in that scenario, that matters. And if they go, well, you know, the low is 250 because some hospitals read male's testosterone at 250 and he's at 40, and they don't give him anything to give the natural production, and they tell him to take a single shot once a week. His number goes from 40 to 28 because his body stops producing because he's supplementing but not taking enough. These things matter. This is why we partner with Matrix. Sean and Ken know their shit.
Yeah.
So if you have any questions about blood work, want to get your blood work done, have any issues with your hormones, male or female, if you have PCOS, there are a lot of things that Matrix can do. It will save you $200 to do your initial visit with them if you just tell them To Be Better sent you. When you do your new patient forms, there's a drop down. We're on their menu. To Be Better podcast.
To Be Better.
Tell them Chris and Peaches sent you. All right. Was not intending to plug Matrix with that, but
Here we are.
there's a lot that goes into hormones, and a lot of people don't understand that shit. So,
Yeah. If I'm honest, I'm scared to go home and feel how cold he will be to me for pushing him for more assurance and asking him to help me get through this.
that's a problem.
Wait, what is this? What is she going through? I don't understand.
I guess I don't either. But if her issues that she needs to go home and be coddled,
Right.
I don't understand why that's a problem though.
I could see it being a problem if it's an everyday thing and it's becoming more and more and more, and very clearly nothing he is doing is reassuring her.
Yeah, I could see that too. But that's an extreme scenario. And if that, okay, so you're right, and that is an extreme scenario. And if that's the case, I could absolutely see how he would be like, all right, come on, this is fucking daily. That shit would get old fast. I could absolutely see that, because we want to provide solutions. And if we're like, okay, well, let's try this, like let's try this, and a month goes by and it's the same thing every day and you've done absolutely nothing to correct the problem, I could see how that would be a problematic scenario. So yeah, I guess I get that. I have nothing else on that one then.
I told him that we should be able to lean on each other, and I'm trying to fix things in our communication to create a healthy marriage. I want to ask him if he still loves me, because growing up with my mom, love was conditional. Aren't they married?
Not yet.
Or they're engaged. They're supposed to be married in October.
December, I thought it said.
October.
Oh.
Of this year. Next month. He's engaged to you.
I wish I could say that mattered. I do.
Yeah.
I wish I could say that mattered, but we know that that's not the case.
Yeah. I know it pisses him off when I ask that question.
Ooh.
When I ask for a hug, I get a hug for 10 seconds and then he's done and gently pushes me off of him. I don't know what his love languages are because he doesn't want to take the test for me. Is this somebody you want to be married to?
Right. Somebody that's not willing to put in that little bit of extra effort to make sure that you're taken care of.
Right. Even just to take the love languages quiz. In taking those quizzes, not only did I learn what my love languages were, I learned how I love you.
Right. Give me 1 second. I need to send something to the manager of the shop. Okay.
All right, so basically this long ramble is me asking, what emotional support is too much to ask from him? Whatever he's not willing to do for you.
Right, but I think it's more than that. I think that it's not so much of what is acceptable to ask, because you should be able to ask for anything. It's the whole point of being with your person and like the teamwork that comes into it. And if you become too much, that needs to be a conversation that is had after the emotional thing.
Yeah.
And like, assuming this is not an extreme case where she's like hyper codependent and up his ass constantly, and this is just her working through life and trying to have somebody to lean on, like, that's the whole point of being with somebody. That's the point of marriage. It's so that you don't have to struggle in this life alone anymore. You know, it's, I mean, obviously it's a lot more than that, but that is a huge benefit of being married. I think that you guys need to have a deeper conversation, and he needs to understand that your needs are not being met on an emotional level. And do you really want to marry somebody that can't meet your emotional needs? Like, if you're going to commit the rest of your life to this person and you're already feeling this way, you really need to have a long discussion, and it needs to not be a needy thing. It needs to be a non-emotional, logic brain thinking conversation.
When I said that whatever he's not comfortable with doing, what he's doing could be enough for somebody out there. It's just not you.
Yeah.
I've said it before, and I will die on this hill. I do not believe that men can comprehend the extent of emotions that women can go through.
No, we can't. We don't have the same receptors in our brain that you do.
So
I have a question. Actually, the chat has a question. So
okay.
Somebody said that even the gentle push off after a hug negates the hug. Do you believe that?
No, he could have said, "Don't touch me."
Okay, so in the event that you were having that emotional whatever, and you were like, "I need compression, hug me," and I hugged you for a few seconds, and then I stopped, and you were still trying to hug and like hold on, and I like put my hands on your hip, so kind of like body language. I'm letting you know, like, okay, I need a second, or I have to do something else, or I have to pee, whatever.
Well, there would be a conversation. I'm not just going to step away and just let you walk away from me.
Okay. So, I mean, I've never heard that negates the hug.
I've never heard of that either.
Okay, so that's why I was asking. I didn't know if that was a woman thing or if that was how that feels for other people. Like, this is new grounds. Because if I'm done hugging and I put my hands on your hip, like, okay, babe, I'm done. Like, sometimes I'm just done. Sometimes you're just done. Sometimes people don't want to be touched.
Right.
Sometimes it's not just about what you're going through. It's about what the other person is going through also, and you need to have grace with each other. It's hard. It's hard to put yourself in someone else's shoes when you're panicking too.
Yeah.
When you're in the middle of a freak out.
Yeah.
You know?
What things can I do to work on me not needing constant reassurance?
Say it again.
What things can I do to work on me not needing constant reassurance?
You need that reassurance because you're not getting it.
Right.
This goes into that whole starving thing, right? If I go on a 7-day fast and I haven't eaten anything, and you've eaten 3 or 4 times throughout the day, and you and I go to a banquet, and I sit down and you're eating little nibbles because you're full and I'm famished and I'm fucking just face fucking food, right? And people are gonna look at me and go, "Oh my God, what's going on with him?" I'm starving. It's not that the food isn't satiating me. It's that I haven't eaten and like there's not enough. So like I'm trying to replenish everything while you're taking your little nibbles. That's your emotional needs. If you are feeling that rejected and you're not feeling like you're getting your emotional needs met, you are always going to have that need for more. You're not going to feel full.
Right.
So it's the same thing. I got to be honest, in that scenario, you need to tell him like, you're not doing enough to make me feel full, which is why I keep coming to you with these problems. It's why I constantly need that reassurance. If you were doing what you're supposed to be doing as my man, maybe I wouldn't have to ask you every day if you love me. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
But, and again, if he's not willing to take the love languages test, that's a 5-minute test that you can take while you're on the toilet. Like, you can do it on your phone and it's free. There's no reason not to do that. And if you don't want to take a test because you suck at taking tests, there's videos on people's YouTube channels that breaks down the love languages and gets in-depth conversations about it, like us, because we did that. And they could just watch a video a day, and then maybe he'll get an understanding of what his love language is, because some of those are going to relate to you.
Yeah.
I don't understand why you're not willing to take that extra little bit of preparation or that little bit of extra work to try to make your life better. Because from his standpoint, if she's constantly being needy and it's constantly a problem, at some point, wouldn't he go, okay, I'm fucking sick of this. I'm going to just take the love language test to shut her up. Like, it's not the right way to do it, but at some point he would have to cave, right? Like, I would imagine that eventually we're gonna be like, all right, we don't want to hear this anymore. It's why women who nag all the time, when the man finally fucking gets it done, it's because he's tired of hearing her nag kind of shit. Like, I just don't understand why you would have to actually let it get to that point. Why make it a problem? It's going to take you 5 minutes. But that says a lot about who he is as a person and the way he values the relationship. If you said to me, hey, this is a problem, I'm like, okay, how can I fix it? Like, what do you want me to do to fix the problem? Do I need to XYZ? Do you want me to research something? Like, I will try to not do that again. And if I do it again, give me a nudge. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, you also are willing to do that because you get a lot from me.
we get a lot. Yeah. Yeah, I do.
If it's a situation of her constantly needing all this validation, he's not getting anything in return, he's just catering to her needs, and it's become so overwhelming that he just feels a shell of himself, why would he want to reciprocate that at this point?
Because I don't see that he's fulfilling her needs.
Well, we don't know what it looked like. She said she wanted it to be like it was in the beginning, so something has changed.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. The intimacy is gone in their life. But for her to feel that way, like I said earlier, is that she's not getting satiated with the demands. So, like, he's not fulfilling those needs in any way, shape, or form.
Right.
You would think that if she's constantly coming with this, eventually he'd be like, all right, I'm tired of this. Like, how can I fix this? So she'll stop.
Well, we know that men will stay in the same miserable situation
Yeah.
for a very long time.
Yep. Yep.
There was a point he was meeting all of her needs, and there's a reason he's not doing it anymore.
So find that and you find the problem to your email.
Boom.
Was that actually the end of the email?
Yeah, that was it.
All right, guys. So I want to show you something real quick. Let me get this pulled up and then pause it because it's going to start talking right away. We get asked a lot about finances, like a lot. And I found like you can do a lot to manipulate your credit when you're trying to build your credit up. And I found a website called Smart Credit. I signed up for it. I've been a member of them for a few months now. And then I reached out to them about partnering with them because I wanted somewhere that I can send people when they're having issues with their credit score and trying to figure things out. So I'm going to give you guys a little bit of an ad right now. I apologize. I know that people don't want to have shit like pushed on them, but we believe in this product, so I'm sharing it.
I don't hear anything.
They're saying no sound. I don't know what's going on with their mixer. You said you couldn't hear it. I can hear it playing through mine. What is happening right now? Let's see. As you know, our podcast is about personal growth and development, and a lot of things that we discuss is health, mental health, relationships. However, we have discussed financial security and financial freedom quite a bit. I would like to talk to you guys about Smart Credit. This is somebody that I reached out to, said that I wanted to work with because we are constantly asked about money.
So Smart Credit is more than just a financial platform. It is your all-in-one solution to help you control your future credit score. Smart Credit Score Tracker gives you a clear view of your credit scores, helping you understand how they're evolving over time. It's like having your own credit dashboard.
But what sets Smart Credit apart is their Score Builder and Score Boost features. Imagine improving your payment history, which accounts for a whopping 35% of your credit score, with just a few clicks. With Score Builder, you can communicate directly with your creditors and financial institution to address errors, identify fraud, and more. No need to send letters or make phone calls. The Score Builder streamlines the entire process and saves you the hassle and time.
Now, for the icing on the cake, Score Boost. This feature helps you tackle the 30% of your credit score related to credit utilization. It tells you exactly how much to pay off and by when to gain the most points the fastest.
And here's the kicker, guys. Smart Credit throws in $1 million worth of identity fraud insurance for your entire household. Absolutely free with every membership.
Smart Credit is more than just about maximizing your credit score. It can also be your financial dashboard. With their Money Manager tool, you can link your checking and saving accounts, investments, credit cards, and more all in one place.
Remember, it's not just about optimizing your credit. It's about protecting it, maintaining it, and Smart Credit provides the tools to help you do both effortlessly.
So why wait? Give Smart Credit a try today. Enroll in just 1 minute and get a 7-day trial for only $1 using the link in the description. and save $4 a month if you enroll.
Guys, remember, you are the author of your own story.
So grab your phone and download Smart Credit today and take control of your future credit score.
All right. I know that was kind of cheesy, the end there, but we use this, right? We both use this app. Babe, we're back on screen.
Okay.
We both use this. We've been playing with it. There's a whole lot that goes into that app, and that little Smart Credit slider lets you know how much you need to pay. So if you guys are trying to buy a house or you're trying to buy a new car, like, you know that you're trying to buy a car and you're saving the money for it, so you need to figure out how much you need to pay, because the better your credit score, the better, your debt to income ratio is, the better your car payment's going to be. The interest shit really makes a difference. So people are always asking. There you go. That's a great way to monitor what's going on with your credit. I hope that helps. Sorry that things are going on with the mixer. I turned a monitor yesterday to make it so that we could fulfill t-shirt orders, and when I did, I hit all kinds of buttons on the mixer, and I'm a set it up once and leave it kind of thing. So when things don't work, I have to problem solve, and I don't know what the fuck I'm doing.
I think you're doing your best.
It's working now, and that's all that matters. All right. Do we want to take a quick break and keep going, or you want to call it? We're about 2 hours in.
I could take a quick break. I want to walk around.
Okay.
And
I also have to use the bathroom, so I'm going to pee real quick. You can take your hit and
I'm going to go make a phone call.
Your pass. Guys, we're going to take 5 minutes. I'm going to stick you on the starting screen. Mute everything up. All right, so while everybody's gone, I'm going to come and read some comments and bullshit with you guys for a minute. They're taking a quick smoke break. So let's see what we've got going on. I was so confused, I thought I missed something. It was behind. Thanks to whoever said to switch the messages to all. Yes, in Peach's TikTok live, and I'm here. Nope. All right, we're not doing that. Let's see, what else do we got? I slept through my alarms. Danish, how dare you sleep through your alarms? How are you going to do the boss thing if you're sleeping through your alarms? Jenny in the chat. Hello, Jenny. How do I communicate that I am disassociating and I need something, but I don't know what it is? And what can she do to help? I hate it when I feel this way and she feels helpless. Tell her you're disassociating. That would be the first thing, right? Like if you're having a hard time keeping up and you're having a mental pause, tell her that. I'm overwhelmed. I'm overstimulated right now. I need a minute to just kind of process what you've said. and then come back and talk about it. And while you're processing, try to figure out what you can do to tell her like what you need. So if you're overstimulated and freaking out, that should be something you're working on. Adriana said, just got my accountability hoodie. Thanks, Chris and Peaches. Damn, that shipped fast. Hey, you guys want to hear something funny? I broke the lock at the post office. We filled the entire bed of my truck up almost with t-shirts. There was I could probably fit one more box back there. Drove it to the post office, and I went in and I got one of those rolly carts, and I'm like, all right, guys, I need a rolly cart. I have a whole lot of boxes because they weren't just bags this time. And I rolled it out the door, and when I rolled it out the door, the cart hit the lock, and it just busted the lock right off the door. And I just went out there, and I threw everything in there and walked back inside, and I was like, so I broke the lock. And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, yeah, you want my phone number so that I can pay for that? And he's like, no. He's so fucking salty that I broke that lock. I tried to pay for it.
One of the dresses I never got to wear in Vegas.
You're unmuted now if you would like to say that again.
This is one of the dresses I never got to wear in Vegas.
Why didn't you get to wear it in Vegas?
Because I had to wear heels with it,
Oh,
and my feet were really hurting in Vegas.
gotcha. Nerdy Sage said, disassociating is hard to describe to someone who hasn't experienced it. Like, I feel like a little person, instead my head watching from my eyes. Then that's how you explain it. You tell them that I'm so overstimulated that I feel like I have recessed into my brain and I'm not hearing or seeing much of anything right now. I just kind of need a minute. I listen to you guys so much that my boyfriend now sends me clips and listens in on some of the episodes while I'm watching. Can't wait to get my blanket hoodie. He loves me. Blanket hoodies are on pre-sale until, today's Wednesday, until Friday, Saturday, 28th, 29th, 30th. So Saturday. And then we have to get them in and get them stitched and all that fun stuff. Lindsay said, I got my t-shirt hoodie order posted in the show your shirt section of Discord. Haven't actually been on the Discord much today.
People were receiving their things already?
Yeah.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah, it's crazy because we shipped them literally 2 days ago.
Yeah.
So
I ordered a bunch of things on Amazon, and I'm being very impatient about them getting here.
yeah,
Like my new phone case.
we have a lot of stuff that's being delivered over the next few days.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, so what are we doing? You want to do another email?
Yeah, let's do one more and then we'll call it a day.
Okay.
We still have over 400 people hanging out with us. I feel like we owe it to them to continue.
So this is a short one.
Okay.
It says relationship with depression. Chris and Peaches. I apologize to Chris as I know you're an equal half of this question, but as a woman, I'm interested in hearing primarily from Peaches' point of view or opinion.
It's cool. I'll just go fuck myself then.
You're so spicy. I've never reacted that way.
Just kick me out. It's cool. I didn't want to talk to you anyways. I'm just sitting over here like this. Just kidding. I honestly don't give a shit. Do your thing, babe.
I'm not sure if this has ever been addressed. I'm slowly working my way through your YouTube playlist, and I'm sorry for the redundancy.
I like that word.
Me too. I'm about to hit a year-long relationship with my partner, though I've known him for more than 3 years at this point. We are currently long distance, and discussing of him moving in with me is underway. We have had long, 3 consecutive months at some point spurts of living together, so we are not going in blind. It is very easy for me to say this, as he is the best partner I've ever had in my 34 years of life. I know people say that just to show how long they've been alive. Like, in all actuality, it's only been about 20 years of your life. People don't start looking romantically at people until they're in their teenage years. You just disengaging from the conversation too, or?
I was listening to you, but I don't have a whole lot to add to that because at 14 years old, men ain't thinking romance. They're thinking about clapping cheeks. It's a very different thing.
Gotcha. He is my king, and I worship him the best I can, in person and from afar. My question is, how do you take care of Chris when/if you get into a depression? I suffer heavily from mental problems and trauma, and although I'm on medication and I'm seeking treatment, I will always deal with periods where it's difficult to get out of bed and even take care of myself the rest of my life. I love serving my partner, especially when he's here in person and doing things for him, but depression makes it incredibly difficult to find the energy to even do the little things. I'll add that I feel incredibly secure in my relationship with my partner despite his flaws. I want and crave a future with him. I know my depression doesn't make his affection or view of me change, but I want to find a way to show him how much I appreciate him even when I'm at my lowest. I've asked my partner, and he always replies that the best way to show him is to focus on myself and get better. So before I answer this, I know you can tell when I'm going through a depression. So what are some things that you notice that I will go out of my way to do even though I am trying to keep myself alive?
You do everything the way that you're supposed to do. Like, you don't allow your depression to dictate your day. Read Choice Theory by William Glasser. That's where you would start with that. But we realize that we both have a role to play in our household. We have a whole lot of things that need to be taken care of and done. And yeah, we can miss a day. Absolutely. But if that day turns into 4 or you start isolating, it's going to destroy a lot. And that's
Everything
a choice.
will fall apart.
And it's a choice. Yeah. So when you're laying in bed and your woe is in me and you don't want to get up and do shit, life doesn't give a fuck that you're depressed.
No.
Get your ass up and get going. And the more you start moving and the more you start going about your day, the less shitty you're going to feel.
Yeah.
It's been proven when you isolate and you fucking lay around, it gets worse. Start exercising.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, you don't do that. When you tell me, babe, I'm having a really hard day today, I'm like, all right, I got you. I know not to bring anything to your plate just so that you can get through the day. You take care of the kids, you take care of dinner, you do the podcast, you do all the things that you need to do that's part of our normal routine. And I don't bring any extra bullshit to you until you get through whatever you're going through. But normally by the midway through the day, that shit goes away.
Yeah.
You were having a fucking morning this morning.
Yeah. It's still kind of going.
Kind of. But it's not like it was this morning.
I'm nauseous and my anxiety's kicking. If I don't focus on it, I'm okay.
See?
I am 100% that dog in a flaming room saying this is fine.
Drinking your tea?
No, I'm fanning myself.
Ooh, that was a really good sound.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Ready?
Yeah. The ASMR fans are going to enjoy that.
So, I can feel my depression creeping in. Like, I know that bitch is coming. And I get the house ready. I spruce up. I do some... This is all in my mind.
Pre-depression cleaning?
By the way, I do, yeah. I mean, in the house, I certainly do that. Because I know if I'm not on top of it and I don't start with a massive clean slate, when that depression finally hits me, it's going to be absolute chaos in the house. Yeah. But mentally, I start sprucing up my house. Like, make sure my bed's nice and clean and there's no clothes on the floor and shit. Because when that bitch knocks on my door, it's not going to be pretty. I know the depression's there when I wake up in the morning and my first thought is, hey, unalive yourself. And I'm like, oh, fuck, okay. So this is it. And those days, I certainly look at you and I say, I'm going through it. I brush my teeth, take a shower.
And it's all really appreciated that you do that, by the way.
Yeah?
Yeah, I love it when you brush your teeth and shower.
I'm glad. I view it as I can lay in bed in my own filth and think these thoughts, or I can be a productive person within my family unit and think these thoughts.
I know you hear that. You're fanning the microphone.
Oh, I did not hear that. No. I just hear me fanning myself and feeling comfortable.
This really comes down to what are you going to do about it?
Yeah.
And that's, I think that question gets asked more in our house than any other questions ever laid out.
Really, it does.
Because anytime there's a problem, what are you going to do about it?
Yeah.
You're going to complain or we're going to problem solve? Like, and we ask ourselves that shit a lot. Mm-hmm. Starting to get fat, what are we going to do about it? Like, not feeling okay today. Okay, what are you going to do about it? Like, it's just, you ask yourself that shit. How does this serve me? Laying in bed going to make me feel better or make me feel worse? I don't know. It's a decision. It's truly a decision.
I allow myself self-sulking time until about 9 a.m.
6:45.
No. When I'm really going through it and I'm laying in bed, you come in and you're like, okay, it's almost 9 o'clock. I do allow myself, like when I'm really, really, really going through it and just the thought of existing makes me want to cry, I will lay in bed until 9 o'clock and I'll cry and I'll get my cry out and you'll come in and you'll hug me and I'll cry on your shoulder and I'll lay back down and be like, I have 20 more minutes. And I will make a full mini episode in those 20 minutes because I have to get this shit out of my system.
Yeah.
And then once it's 9 o'clock, I am out of that bed. I am no longer crying. I am going to dress myself. I'm not walking around in sweatpants. And get stoned and just fucking do the thing.
Yep.
I feel like that's not helpful.
I mean, I think it is because that's the answer.
Yeah.
Is you control you're in control of that shit. You can't make the depression go away.
No.
But you don't have to succumb to it either. That's a choice.
Yeah.
So we have a bunch of super chats to read.
Dope.
Damn, Heather said even the Grinch checked off self-pity and then carried on and grew a heart.
Damn. Yep. That was good.
That was good. All right, we have a lot of super chats, and these are going to be weird to read because he was screenshotting his entire screen instead of his phone. So let's see. It's all right.
I feel like that should have been clarified.
Lynn said, I love that shirt Steve had. Protect her. Is there a protect him? If so, where can I buy this set? We will maybe do that as a shirt release in the future. Lindsay sent $1.99 with no text.
Thank you.
Ryan Lindsay sent $1.99 with text that said, have they went through email sent in last June? That's a Jenny question. I don't know. Last June? You mean the June that just passed? This June?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Last June is impossible.
Yeah. We are still months behind.
Yeah, one of the ones that we read today, I think, was from May.
But we also have been rejecting emails.
Yeah.
So we're not reading trauma dumps and all that shit anymore. Julie rocks. Julie, we filled a whole bunch of packages for you yesterday, and one of them got a shit ton of stickers in it. Mm-hmm. My first marriage was 8 years. My second was 17 years. So I don't know about it being less each time. Maybe my next will be less only because I'm older now and death will come first. I have grown and done the work. That's it. That's it. Bethany Baker said, you know you've made it when the haters are trying to ruin it live. Keep doing what you're doing. You're helping tons. Yeah, people are salty. Sam Kendig sent $1.99 with no text. Thank you for the super. Lynn Marie. I know you guys have mentioned the fact of your numbers dwindling while you guys were in Vegas, and I just want to say you are doing great. Word of mouth is so powerful, and so is your content. Don't stop. Can't stop, won't stop. We answered that one. All right, Cynthia said, just here to say thanks to you both for all you do. You've helped me make my relationship better every single day.
I'm glad.
Yeah, it takes work every single day.
It does.
You guys, it's one of those things that when you really give your attention to detail and you really start like paying attention to things, your life is going to change because it's what you're giving your attention to. Michaela said, can't wait for my hoodie. I've been using my journal to write my frustrations down and match them to scripture to give me a reminder of support. I loved that. I love that. And I would actually like to see how that played out. Like that's how you get TikTok famous.
I have no idea what you said. I've already lost it.
She said, can't wait for my hoodie. Here, I know that this works better for you. You read it.
Can't wait for my hoodie. I've been using my journal to write my frustrations down and match them to scripture to give me a reminder of support.
Tell me that wouldn't blow somebody up on TikTok. Reading the thing that's troubling them and then reading the scripture that answers it.
Yeah.
6 months, you'd have 100,000 followers easily if you posted every day with content like that.
Gremlin Girl, can't wait for my hoodie. Thank you for everything you do. And for the Discord and both of your support, keep smashing it.
Gremlin Girl, we're going to be actually mailing out your hoodie today. That's on my list of things to do after the live stream. Mm-hmm. And if I can get both of your hoodies and the shirt you ordered in the same box, it'll all go out in one thing and I'll refund your shipping on the t-shirt.
Stay-at-home mom and wife to a blue-collar man. You two have helped me be better, to which in return has made my family better.
Love that.
Also, just got a notification. My accountability shirt is out for delivery. I'm pumped.
How cool is that?
That is really dope. I'm assuming that's saying being in a serious relationship / marriage means being able to talk about and go through the hard things together.
Yep.
This is true.
This was probably from that one email that we read.
Yeah. That was from Angie.
Steve, your laptop takes hell of a screenshot, dude. These images are clear.
I was worried about that from the going from this MacBook to that.
Yeah, no, they're high res.
Chris.
Oh, cool.
From Keisha, I couldn't thank you enough for everything I've learned.
Love that. Guys, we're still learning.
We are. Oh my gosh.
Hang on, before you read this, let's talk about that for a second, because we in the men's group, we have a book a week. We try to do a book a week. Sometimes we get a little behind. Sometimes things don't get done in time, but for the most part, we do a book a week. And there are times where like the book was only 3 hours, or like they actually read it instead of doing an Audible and it's finished in a day. We're like, okay, now what? And now we're finding another book. So sometimes 6 or 7 books in a month is not unheard of. Those books, even if you get one golden nugget, is worth the time you invested. And that is our personal growth. And when you read something that you think is super dope, you share it with me. And when I read something, I share it with you. And I do it to Steve too. He gets book suggestions from me fucking constantly. That is how we hold each other to a standard, and we don't allow the other to slack. So when you find something that you're invested in, even if I'm not, I'm going to pay attention, because if you gain something from that knowledge, I'm probably going to gain something from that knowledge.
Yeah.
So knowing that we are still growing and you guys are following us, know that we're still doing the work too. We're still fucking doing the work.
Yep. From Nerdy Sage, my husband has been working super hard lately. He's a roofer. Do you think taking him out to dinner would be weird? I want him to feel appreciated.
I don't think it would be weird at all. I think that a home-cooked meal and like his favorite glass of whiskey afterwards would be way better than a dinner. I gotta be honest, when you're tired like that, you don't want to go out and do shit. And like roofing, especially in the South, it's so fucking hot out there on those roofs. I'm good. I couldn't do that shit. When they came into the solar panels yesterday, it was like 11:30 and that kid's hat was covered in sweat all the way to the top of his head. No fucking way would I do that shit. So in that scenario, yes, dinner would be super dope, but cook for him instead and like get his favorite glass of whiskey, or like do the gaming thing that we played that TikTok of. I like it. Like I had gravy and biscuits for dinner last night, or biscuits and gravy, since some of you guys tell me that I say it wrong. But you did that for dinner last night. And the night before that, our daughter, you guys made brownies for me. So like I came home it was like 11 o'clock at night and our daughter was still up. Yeah. And she sang happy birthday to me when I came through the door. And like we sat on the counter and the three of us had a brownie and she went to bed. Those are life memories. I'll never forget that. You know what I mean? So like that matters. I gotta be honest, men appreciate a lot. It doesn't take much to like make us feel wanted. We've spent our whole life not having that. And it starts in childhood because most men don't get that attention from their mother. And I don't mean it in like an intimate way, but with technology being the way that it is, most kids are handed a tablet or a controller and sent to their bedroom versus actually getting quality time. So when you show us a little bit of quality time, it goes a long fucking way. Yeah, I'll never forget that brownie. And she was doing this weird like, happy birthday
Yeah,
thing.
she was.
All right, that one is a exclusive live stream member. Link.
All right, Haley. Hey, Chris, what have you done for your back? I have a bulging disc and need an epidural steroid.
I have done nothing. I try to crack it when I can. I get massage therapy when it gets really bad. Sometimes I go to a chiropractor, but ultimately when it comes down to it, I have foraminal stenosis. The discs in between my spine are going away and it's bone on bone. So there are days that I'm in excruciating pain and there's absolutely nothing I can do about it. The doctors that I've seen, and I've seen 3 of them, 2 out of 3 were like, we need to fuse your discs. The first one was gung-ho, like, all right, we're going to set the appointment and do the thing. And I'm like, no, I'm going to get a second opinion because I don't want to be immobile. The second guy was like, we're going to fuse your discs and it's going to hinder your life. And, if you can put it off, you should. And the third doctor was like, everybody's going to tell you to fuse your discs. Don't do that. He's like, if you do that, and as technology evolves, you're not going to be able to fix your back. So if you can handle being in pain, tolerate it. We can give you something if you need it, which I don't take pain meds. But the technology is now there. There is a really long needle that they can fucking stick in your spine, inject it full of fluid, shape it, and you have like silicone gel paddings in your discs. I'm terrified of that. Like truly terrified of that. So until I can't handle it, I'm not doing that.
It's not painful.
Yeah, I'm good.
Like I haven't had that done, but I've had 2 C-sections. I've had spinal blocks.
Yeah.
So
this isn't just a needle though. They have to go in with sanders and sand all that shit down and
Holy
shape it to
shit.
the disc. It scares me.
So you'd be out for that.
Yeah, they would put me under. They would have to. I'm good on that. That whole thing scares me. I know a guy who had to have the your C-spine is your lower, your thoracic, whatever the top ones are. He had to have those fused, and they went in through the front of his neck. And like they have like speculums or whatever that they put in there, and they pull it apart so that they can work from the front instead of the back, because if they go to the back, it can paralyze you. I'm good. That shit stresses me out thinking about it. I'll wait until I'm unable to handle pain and then worry about that.
From Kayla, you guys have changed my life. Still working hard to fix myself.
We are too.
Yep.
Glad we're helping though.
And that work will never stop. From Cerulean Firefly, just saying hello again today, going back to the gym later. I let life kick me down, but I got to choose to pull myself out. Thank you always for the motivation and inspiration.
You are welcome.
You're very welcome. From Lorraine, Dana Cardinal mentioned a great t-shirt idea. What are you going to do about it? Thank you for driving the inspiration and the drive to go forward. What are you thinking?
I don't know. I don't know how I would make that as a t-shirt. Like, I know that I like the shit that I like, and obviously people like some of it too, but like, I think that I hope you take it personal shirt would do better than the what are you going to do about it shirt. But people might take that the wrong way.
Yeah.
Could you imagine walking like in the wrong neighborhood with a shirt like, what you going to do about it?
Fucking deck you.
Just like when we had the tattoos aren't just for sailors and whores at the studio,
Yeah.
that was my conversation. I would wear it once a week. That's my conversation piece, getting my coffee in the morning. So
Yeah, we sold that on our site too.
From Sydney, I have gotten my hoodie. The gifts in there was a beautiful surprise. Thank you.
Yeah. She got the shirts and the koozies.
That's dope.
I'm assuming she got the shirt and the koozies. I don't know. She could have just got koozies and stickers.
Yeah. SMC 8484 sent $10 with no message. Thank you. Evan, my 3.5-year-old daughter called me her best friend recently. You all and her unfiltered thoughts have helped pull me out of a depression I've been in for over a week. Thank you so much.
Love that. It's crazy when a kid tells you they want to be like you, or like that you're their favorite, or
Every time I cry.
it's one of those things that like you're supposed to be the superhero to your kids. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You're supposed to be their role model. So if they're saying they want to be Captain America, and you're obviously not Captain America, it means that you're not doing what you should be doing as their parent to be their role model. So it's pretty dope to hear that you're their best friend, or that they want to be like you, or that they're proud of you. Do we have anything else you guys want to talk about? Any last minute questions before we end this? Nerdy Sage said, I don't have more money to offer, LOL, but I'm hoping you see this. To clarify, I have 3 kids, and the only sitter is my mom, who has to watch them at the house due to my middle allergies. I don't know what that was for.
Yeah, I have no idea either. Did we miss something?
Maybe, or I just don't remember what she sent. All right, let's go back to that and see if there was a...
I wish there was a plug-in for this where you can click on someone's name
Oh.
and it shows just anything they've chatted.
That was the super chat about the husband being a roofer, so taking him out to dinner. So they have
Oh,
3 kids,
gotcha.
makes it a little bit harder for them to have the downtime.
Okay.
That makes a whole lot of sense. Sabrina said, hey, I know a guy if you need a deal on your anesthesia to get it done. If I ever actually get my mouth work done, I would have to get put under. There's no way that I could handle that. The thought, ugh. Zach said, greetings to Steve. We just got a shirt order in. Steve, you'll get to meet a lot of the Discord members here in October. Most of them are coming down.
Yeah, I'm super stoked for that.
My mother-in-law's spine was dwindling away due to cancer. She did what the doctor said, and she was in more pain after her surgery. Yep, that's why I'm not fucking with that. I will wait until I absolutely can't. Cervical, lumbar, and thoracic. That is true. Chris, my sister's father, recently had a surgery like that, and it was an issue with the discs that are on at the top. And they went through the neck to operate. Yeah, it just stresses me out, man. Jackie and Bren, no email yet, but I can't wait to hear back from you. I fangirled when you said you read my email. Do you remember that?
For the women's segment.
Okay. Damn, you remember names like that?
Well, she was one of the first women to email in.
Oh, I was going to say, woman, you've had like 250 emails come through there. How do you remember that?
She was one of the first ones to email in.
I need you to slow down over there, Rain Man. All right, got another super. CMC said, love you guys. I want to hear y'all check out Jonathan Pokluda sometime on the pod. I don't know who that is.
I don't know who that is either.
Jonathan Pokluda. Can you check that, Steve?
Yep. Stand by. I got another super chat that just popped.
I got it.
You got it?
Yep. Sydney said, yes, Chris, it was the shirt and the koozies. I screamed with excitement. So you got one of 48 because Peaches and I both took one of those shirts. We weren't planning on it. 49 because we sent out at 51st. We had 51.
We did.
Because I screwed up. I did. It is what it is. We got a place in Winter Park we do anesthesia at. When you're ready, let me know. If I can find a dentist in Winter Park that will rip all my teeth out and put new ones in while we're there, I'm gangster for that. Let's go.
I don't think they'll implant them while you're there.
No,
Like,
but
it has to heal.
If they can pull them all out and do all the major work first, let it heal, and then go put me back under to do the rest, I could go with that. I mean, you just give me mashed potatoes or like mushed biscuits and gravy. We can let it sit for a little while so that the biscuits are like gooey and I can just gum it.
I mean, I'm already like timing out when I need to do that and have it done by. That way it's
funny.
nice and ready for you to eat.
That's funny.
All right, I found him.
Okay.
Yep. So he is the lead pastor at Harris Creek Baptist Church in Waco, Texas.
We ain't coming out.
Yep. His ministry has grown from 150 to more than 7,000 young adults. He's a best-selling author. He's got some pretty cool stuff. I'm gonna screenshot this and send it to you.
Okay. Yeah, let's see if we can find that dude and see if he wants to come to Florida and be on the podcast.
Really cool.
Kim said, Chris and Peaches, how do you suggest that I bring up the Dom sub relationship with my man? I've tried before and he didn't really respond and I left it alone. I've been wanting to try it for a long time. How would you handle that, woman? Since
that would be one of the first conversations, like during courting and dating. That's not something a lot of people are just comfortable jumping into.
I think the conversation would have to be had as to why you now want that after all this time.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think that comes down to needs and needs being met.
Right.
Like, hey, when I think about things like this, it does it for me. Do you think we could just try? And if he's like, I'm really not into it, be like, look, I'm not asking you to do it for the rest of our lives. I'm just asking you to try. Maybe you will be.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be the move. There was something else I saw. Oh, Nerdy Sage, continuing on the super chat she sent. I just don't want him to feel like I'm stepping on his toes, taking him out when that's typically his area of the relationship. Yeah, I mean,
it might actually really upset him.
You think so?
It could. Like, if he's the one who normally plans dates like that and all of a sudden she's doing it, he could be like, well, do you think I'm not doing enough?
No, you're right. You were right. I can only think about it from my standpoint. It is my job to plan our dates.
Mm-hmm.
And as long as you did something that I enjoyed, I don't think I would be mad about it. But I also know that, like, again, that comes down to timing. If you've worked all day or you're physically and mentally exhausted, you're not want to go and socialize. It's not going to be an appealing thing. That's why I think like a good glass of whiskey and, if he smokes, maybe a cigar.
Yeah.
Just give him like 45 minutes in a quiet room of the house to decompress, take his boots off. Kim said, we've been married 8 years now, and that's what I was worried about. I got to be honest, that just needs to be a real simple like conversation, and it needs to be in depth. So I guess not simple. It needs to be an in-depth conversation. And maybe you need to do a little bit of research of the things that you want so that you can present them to them in a way that is not like overly sexual, and it's more about having needs met. I think after that kind of time frame, if you were to come at me, if we didn't have that lifestyle and all of a sudden you were like, hey, I want to do this, and be like, what made you think that? What you've been doing? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I could see how that could be problematic. All right, guys, we are 2 hours and 25 minutes into a live stream that we did not intend on going this long.
Yeah.
Isla said, what is that pastor's name? Do you remember?
Jonathan Pokoluda.
Okay.
I'm probably butchering that, but
Haley asked, do we greet each other when one gets home, like a hug or a kiss? Or do you tend to decompress first? I'll let you answer that because that is definitely your department. You are on that.
What do you mean that's my department?
You are the most vigilant person I have ever met when it comes to things like that.
You mean vigilant?
I will walk in the house and you will hear the front door close and you will be outside on the back porch smoking and stop what the fuck you're doing and find me in the house.
I hear the screen door.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's important to me that you feel noticed when you get home.
I don't need to decompress from you. So like the idea of that being a decompression when I come in, I want that greeting. I want to be welcomed when I come into my house.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like a man's home is his castle. It is our refuge. It is the only place on the planet where we have total dominion. Mm-hmm. And simple things can ruin that. A pet, an in-law, a bad day at work that has now transferred into the home because of a phone call or a bad email. Like it really does not take much to fuck up the sanctity of the home. So knowing that I'm coming home and I was missed all day or for an hour and you jump up to greet me and hug me and ask me how my day was or how I've been or even hit me with, hey, I know you've been gone for 15 minutes, but I fucking missed you. I'm so glad you're home. Like I would much rather have that than worry about having to decompress from my day because that is setting the tone of what's going to happen when I come home at night. Yeah. We always do that. We make sure that we acknowledge each other. We don't always hug and kiss before we leave.
I make it a point to do it.
But we don't ever make it a point to just leave. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Yeah, you do. You really do. You do it a lot more than me. I could be pooping. You be walking right in the bathroom like you own the fucking house.
I mean, it kind of is mine. I maintain it and clean it and
shit's funny. But yeah, you do that. I think that you're, I guess I do it too. I think that I make it a point to come find you. I don't want you to ever not know that I've left or like hit you with a text message after I walked out the door. I think that's disrespectful.
Yeah.
So.
The text message you would receive from me if you left the house without saying goodbye.
Yeah. Okay, I have a question. We have somebody in the chat. Her name is Alicia Lopez. And she said, I'm in a lesbian relationship, but I love listening to your podcast. Keep up the good work with a little heart.
I thought you said it was a question.
There's going to be a question. There was a statement.
Okay.
That was a statement. But I have a question.
Okay.
Alicia Lopez, how does you being in a lesbian relationship change the fact that you are listening to us? Like, why is that relevant information to the fact that you're gaining knowledge from the podcast? I would like to know. I'm not making fun. I'm not being a dick.
Why did you feel the need to say it?
Right. We get a lot of that. And I don't understand why people feel the need to say those things versus just, hey, thanks. So I'm going to wait for you to respond. Traveling Tory PNW. I want to know what you're traveling. I'm going to have to look at your channel later. What is the Smart Credit sponsor code? If you refresh your page, there should be a clickable link that will take you to Smart Credit. But it's smartcredit.com/to-be-better, I think. I don't know. It gives you a 1 month subscription or 7 days for $1. And then if you decide to stick with it, it knocks $4 a month off the price. It is a useful tool. Otherwise, I wouldn't have promoted it like that. Nerdy Sage is still going about their date thing. She said, my husband and I have a set ritual he asked me to do when he gets home. It's what he wants, and I'm happy to provide him with it. I mean, there's expectations laid out. Like, that's a win. Mm-hmm. Dude, that's a huge fucking win. You guys that have your expectations laid out and make it easy to adhere to, you're not going to ever guess, right? Like, it's just there now. Like, we know what our partner needs, and we're able to serve them the best way that we see how. That is fucking huge. Mm-hmm. So, Baked Danish asked how you're liking SOA so far.
Oh, I'm a fucking mess. I'm so invested. I know people say that Yellowstone is like Sons of Anarchy, but yeehaw.
Yeah,
but I'm thinking that Sons of Anarchy is like Yellowstone, but with vroom vroom.
It's written by the same guy.
I know.
The guy that plays Hale in the show is the guy that wrote Yellowstone.
Yeah.
And plays Travis in there. Julie Rock said, I think it's because you are male-female, but partners are partners to... I hate that fucking heart that sits on our screen. It makes it so hard to read it. Partner's a partner to me, and it's a relationship and it's communication. See, that's how I feel too, which is why I asked the question, because I don't... I don't know. Guys, my big thing, and I guess it's really, Peaches and I both feel this way. If you guys are happy in your relationship and you're watering each other, as she likes to word it, and you're taking care of each other and you're happy and all you're doing is getting the benefits of learning how to communicate and you're tweaking it to fit your lifestyle, who gives a shit what you're doing? You're happy. Mm-hmm. And that's how we feel about it. We want you guys to be fucking happy. So I don't know. I just don't think that it's necessary to do that. Honey Bunny said, my biggest fear is my husband leaving the home and that something happens and we didn't hug and kiss and say I love you before he left. That thought keeps me up at night, so we always do those 3 things. Lewis said, can a man work too much for a relationship? Do you mean work too much as in like a job?
Or like want the relationship too much.
Right, or work on being better for the relationship.
Too ambiguous of a question.
Right, or I'm just not smart enough to understand it. Ryan Shepard said, listening to you guys watering all the houseplants for my wife.
Yes. Love all of that. Oh, I just looked outside and there's sun.
Yes, as a job. So okay, so yeah. How does that look, babe? Do you think that I could work too much for our relationship in terms of an actual job? Because I've been putting in 16 to 17-hour days every day this week.
No, I don't think that, based on the fact that you make it a point to still give me attention throughout the day.
Yeah.
If I call you, you pick up the phone. You're not sending me to voicemail.
And I also make it a point to spend time with you before we go to bed.
You do.
So the answer to that, and as much as I hate to say that there's a balance, because balance is bullshit, there's a priority there. When I'm working, my priority is my job, unless you call, and then my job gets put on pause and you become my priority until I hang the phone up. But when I come home, I'm prioritizing you above everything else. So that comes down to there being an intimacy that needs to be fulfilled in all scenarios in order for that to be okay. Mm-hmm. When somebody tells you you work too much, what they're really telling you is that they miss you and that you're not fulfilling the needs of a partner because you're not around.
Right.
Yep. SMC says, you're pronouncing it right. He has a pod to becoming something. Y'all would love his relationship advice. It resembles a lot of your traditional values. Well, we're going to reach out to him. If we can find his information, we will reach out to him. And if we can get him to come to Florida, we will. We're working on getting the Unbeliever podcast. He's a pastor, I believe. He's going to be coming on the podcast. We have Conservative Ant coming on the third.
I'm so excited to talk to him.
I am. I'm excited to have him here too. I like Anthony.
Yeah, I enjoy his energy.
Yeah, we have Rick Yee from the Warrior Ways Mindset coming down. We have a bunch of people coming down from Discord, which made me realize the other night that we're about to have our first unofficial fucking meet and greet. And then we have Matt Bell coming in November, who I am fucking over the moon about interviewing because of his success.
Yeah.
But she actually watched Mayans first.
Not even the full episodes, not even all seasons.
Got the last season.
It was the last season and like the last 4 episodes, yeah. I know how it all ends.
Yeah. Traveling Tory PNW said, do you guys attend church or practice faith at home in your personal life? Sincerely, a woman struggling to find faith again after trauma. We are followers of Christ, and though we are looking for a church actively in the area, we have not picked one. We watch Transformation Church on YouTube together, and that's where we get our scripture from, and then obviously we read.
When it comes to finding faith after trauma, something that I have to remind myself is a lot of people say, I don't understand why God would allow this to happen. View this, we as humans are a science experiment. He started the experiment and now he's just taking a step back and he's observing. Doesn't mean he's okay with what's happening. Does not mean that he's condoning what is happening. We, as humans, do things to human beings. So something that I had to learn in separating myself from my trauma and my faith is that I think God would absolutely be disgusted with the things that people have done to me. And that made me view things in a different light versus I can't believe he allowed this to happen.
I think it's important to remember that when you read Genesis and it talks about the creation of the earth and everything that he does in 6 days, it's not finished. Mm-hmm. God made Adam and told him to basically work the earth and to continue what he built. So if God created what he created and then passed the world off to us for us to inhabit and to build upon. He's letting us build upon things. And when fucked up things happen from other people, it's because other people are making the choice for things like that to happen. And you can go as far as to say that that even transitions into cancer and shit because we're not eating food.
Right.
We're eating food like products and chemicals and arsenic and all the fucking things that we're not supposed to be eating, we're eating. Like, you know what I mean? So, yeah, there's going to be a whole lot of speculation and all that, but we're supposed to be finishing that work. So I think about things like that a lot too. So I'm really not trying to get preachy. I don't know. Bye, Felicia said, "Oh my God, Opie's episode destroyed me." Shh, we're not there yet.
Y'all really out here spoiling shit.
Danish said, "We don't talk about Opie on SOA." That's funny. Any advice for a daughter of a man who has been in prison since you were 1 year old for doing a very bad thing to your sister who is going to be released soon? I don't want him to find me. I got no.
I am not the person to ask that question to.
Yeah. Get yourself a concealed weapons permit and make sure that you know how to use your weapon in the event of an emergency. If you are watching church online, look up Solid Rock Bible Church in Awakala, Florida. Akawala. I've lived here my whole life, and I can't say the name of some of our cities.
Akwalaha.
What was it that sparked your interest in the Bible rather than another form of worship living? I had a Christian family save my life, quite literally. They took me in when I was at my lowest and got me off drugs, and they are my adopted family, and I truly believe without a doubt 100% that if it wasn't for that family taking me in, I would be dead. And one of the agreements was that while we were living there, I went to church. And I did. And I've fallen away from my faith several times in my life, and I've always come back to it. So, all right, I got nothing else. This has been fun, but I think I'm done.
Yes, I feel very mentally exhausted.
Yeah?
Yeah, this morning has been a morning.
Yeah. But it's afternoon now, so
yeah,
we can call it this and then get food and finish packing shirts and make post office runs soon. And yeah, I have work to do. All right, guys, it's been fun. We'll see you on the next one.
Thanks for joining us today, guys.